All right. Hi, I am Dominic Twardowski, and I'm here today with...
Big Cheese.
And we are the actors, directors, producers, and pretty much everything else, editors involved with Old Man Irwen, the movie, which, as you're seeing now, the title just came up, and we see the protagonist himself.
He's taking a nap.
That's right, and if you look to his right, you'll see a laptop, which makes several appearances throughout the movie, and maybe we can point it out every time.
Oh.
So,
a very violent awakening for our hero.
That's right, jeez.
I think I actually got Germex in my mouth at this part.
Yeah,
so the reaction's kind of genuine.
It's gonna be hard for us to kind of like go into how all this started.
Yeah,
you can see it on your lip, yeah. It's going to be so hard for us to get into how all this started because we're just going to be pointing out all these little things that we notice. But, I mean, I guess this is a decent part, even though one of my favorite falls is coming up in just a second. So, Old Man Irwen is played by you. There you are. How does it feel now that Old Man Irwen is all done, all wrapped up? It's all over. Is it like an emotional feeling, or...?
Yep.
He's staring. You can't tell, but he's staring forward longingly. You know, he's just thinking about all those memories. It's okay. It's all right. You know.
Wait. Here it comes.
Yep. This was completely ad-libbed by you, I think, at the time. Yep. And there's a sudden cut because I think I started laughing within the context.
I didn't think we would start talking about how we felt about it being over till the end of
I'm
the
sure.
video.
Yeah. I mean, that's when we'll talk about it more seriously. I'm sure.
It definitely all ended better than I thought it would.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, okay, so we can kind of get started here, I guess.
At the beginning, it was kind of aimless.
Yeah, exactly. It was... we can't do this entire commentary without mentioning Gaddy the movie, which we made prior to this, which we also made a commentary track for. Link below. And Gaddy the movie, you know, I like it. Although I haven't watched it in a long time.
I like it.
We had a lot of... The best part about...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Gaddy the movie was good because we got so many different people to do voices for stuff and got tons of people involved. That is not the case with Irwen.
Yeah.
No one is involved with Irwen.
I don't think that I could ever get anybody to watch Gaddy.
I don't think... You probably never tried. Even if they did. I mean, yeah, Gaddy...
I'm pretty sure they've seen it.
Gaddy is a very inside joke thing. This is still inside joke-ish, but it's not quite as bad as that.
Oh.
This is a bit more available to, to regular audiences. I guess we should talk about this.
Disgusting.
We should talk about this location really fast. This is Irwen's home.
He doesn't even eat the whole thing.
It's very strange.
Oh.
Yeah, and I made several cuts here for the movie. There's the laptop right behind your head there, sitting on the counter. Yep, never noticed that before. So basically for the movie, I did a few edits in places to make it a little less awkward. Also, the colors have been corrected a bit, so it wasn't this saturated and nice looking in the original one. It still doesn't look great. Keep in mind, like Cheese said, this was when we were kind of aimless and we didn't quite understand everything that we'd be getting into.
I will say that by the last episode, there was unintentionally a pretty good character arc for him.
Yep.
It was unintentional, but
completely unintentional.
Once I watched the episode, I was like, yeah, wow, there's a really good character arc. Because at the beginning here, he's all washed up, depressed, and alone.
Yeah, and I love this gag of him trying to fit through this tiny space.
This is just how we see him in the beginning.
Yep. He's just kind of an old man that's just kind of going through the motions, basically. And he's extremely unlucky, and he constantly hurts himself. And
the question is does he want to be hurt? Does he want to be hurt?
No, I don't think so. He just gets into situations where it tends to happen. But I should mention really fast, that location we just saw Irwen in, his house, it's never in another episode.
What if he hates himself so much? He's like, hurt me.
Hurt me more, you know, like from the Metal Gear Solid series. Now we're getting off the subject. Yeah. Remember... Anyways, we can't talk about this now. So these locations you're seeing are, I had a house fire at one point, and we had to...
No, we were going to talk about
we
that.
might as well. I mean, we had a house fire at one point, and so we had to move to these pretty nice apartment buildings, and that's where you saw Irwin at the beginning. That was his house, and this was an office area nearby, which we made a fanfic talk in as well. A fanfic talk, another channel.
Driving to like the outskirts of Greenwood or something for that.
Yeah. We only did this once, sort of because, you know, after this episode, he no longer goes home. He's in the elderly care center, so it sort of makes sense.
Do both this first episode and fanfic talk in the same day, or did we do it 2 separate times? It
might have been 2 separate times. I feel like we would have been too tired, but I don't know. That's a good question. It could have been the same day. This is a really nice room, and we used it for this office.
Or maybe we did them both in the same day because we didn't used to be so lazy.
That's right, Cheese. Speaking of lazy, look at that. It's Mallory, but we just put a mask on her to look like Susan from Gaddy the Movie. That's right, that's the Gaddy the Movie mask.
A cameo.
Yeah, that's right. And we're kind of aimless right now. We're just kind of pointing out everything as it happens. But that mask, if there was something I could change about the series, that would be one of the things, is like getting rid of that mask on Mallory, because it makes no sense within the context of the scene. And of course, the entire movie doesn't really make sense, but that's just like really weird.
A change in the movie here.
Yes, and you haven't seen this yet because
I watched some of it.
Oh, okay, you saw the remake.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we remade this, and that is changed. Irwin no longer is dreaming about a fire as he was in the series. He's dreaming about his wife and himself getting into a car accident
and her dying.
That's right. Because, once again, like Gaddy...
Yeah, I thought your performance on Margaret was pretty spot on.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good in the final version. I was surprised when I did that. And I hate my hair in this video. Like my sideburns. I should just point that out. I can't watch this scene because my hair is a mess. So, yeah. The movie's awful.
The movie is a mess because of his sideburns.
We're less than 10 minutes in, and we're saying that the movie's awful. This isn't good. Go ahead.
The Last Jedi.
Oh, that's too topical, Cheese. No one will remember The Last Jedi. Everyone will remember Old Man Irwen, the movie.
There's been interviews before of actors before their movie comes out, and they can't even pretend that the movie's good.
Yeah. We actually made a video where we interviewed ourselves, and we talked about how the movie's a mess. Look at Susan. Sorry.
Mark Hamill, before the movie came out, was like really talking pretty harshly on it.
Yeah. I feel like if we had actual actors working in this, aside from ourselves, they'd probably complain about our working conditions. It's possible. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, maybe. Because here's the thing. This entire movie, and this is worth stressing, is made without any scripts. None of this is scripted. I think that's what makes it interesting.
The last 2 episodes were a little bit...
Yeah. Generally, with a lot of the episodes, like we had a structure or a foundation that we knew this was going to happen, and then this would happen.
We had one idea, and then we just made an entire episode off it.
And that's the thing. You can watch this movie and say, "Oh, it's awful." I mean, look at this. None of this looks planned out. It's very unprofessional. But then you got to remember that this is completely unscripted. We just showed up at each other's houses, and we just made something. And the fact that we were able to put it together at all, I think, is kind of impressive. But I'm the one that made it. So
I remember that. I actually started having people watching the show more, and I kind of wanted it to, like, the show to be like have like a more interesting ending, because it wasn't just us watching it anymore; it was other people were watching now.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, we gotta leave these people with something.
Right.
So I was really bored at work, and I pretty much my entire shift I thought of like story details for the last 3 episodes and texted it to you.
Yeah.
And the first thing you said was, "That's awful," and I just go, "Oh," and I was just gonna leave it, and then you're just like, "No, that's pretty good."
Yeah, I forget what it was exactly. I don't know how much the finale changed based off your original ideas.
I think 90% of it made
Yeah,
it.
for the most part, everything kind of, at that point, we knew what we were doing.
Yeah, episode 8 we had planned pretty much since this episode, episode 1. we always knew we wanted him to get outside.
Yeah, there were always like some general ideas, and once again, I'll touch on that when we really get into how all of this started.
But, I think that episode 9 was the only one with like a real script. Episode 10, I don't think we had any real idea what was going on. We kind of had an idea, but...
Oh, and by script, like even episode 9 didn't have like an actual physical script.
We typed something out.
Did we?
Yeah, we had like a phone call and wrote it out.
Well, that was just like a general, like, this happens and this happens. Just like beats for the entire thing. There was never like an actual, then Irwen says this, and then Bobby says this.
Yeah, no, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
We just had like a...
So it's mostly ad-libbed most of the time, and that's why sometimes it can come across as clunky and weird. Once again, my hair here is a mess. I have like a giant thing sticking up in the back there. We're just going to ignore that, though. There's the laptop. This laptop is another character in of himself. He has an entire arc. He starts out and...
Oh.
The laptop has a bigger arc than everyone else.
4 times now?
Probably more. We probably missed it already like 18 times. But, no, and one thing you'll notice here is, like, in episode 1, we had me, Big Cheese, and Mallory, my sister, who was in the Susan mask. And now, though, it is just us. And that pretty much stays that way for the next, like, 6 episodes. So no one is behind the camera during most of these scenes. We just had to put it on a tripod and hope that we weren't cutting our heads off. Which we did here. But it kind of works because you're mainly just looking at Irwen. And so it just kind of looks like I'm the imposing adult figure. So you don't need to see my face. I wisely shake my finger. So it kind of works. That's what I'm just going to tell myself. It works.
I think we should enter this into a film contest.
Oh. I don't even know if they would allow this. I mean, yeah, I'd put it in. I just don't know. Like, most films that people make aren't 2 hours and 13 minutes long. They're like 4 minutes long.
We really want to steal the show, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to like put it on a screen and just watch people and their reactions.
I'm very curious how, like, I'd assume there'd be outrage because this is kind of pretty dark humor. I mean, look at this scene. Bobby is shouting at an old person to sit up. And don't I kick you? I know I don't think I kick you, but that's a later episode. There's so much elderly violence and talk of death.
Baby.
And baby. Oh, yes, especially baby. And so, yeah, it's not for everyone, definitely. If you don't like dark and dry humor, then...
Technically, the babies aren't actually, like, babies.
Sure, yeah. That might help a bit. I think most people would know what we're doing.
Sense.
No, a normal person could easily look at this and say, "I know what you're going for," and understand what we're going for. But you know, I've tried showing this to some people, and they're put off by how like slow a lot of it is. Because you look at this right now.
I had some people think it was hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah, I love this kind of thing where humor is just like dragged out, and it just seems like. It's just like us making fun of the viewer, like, wow, you're still watching this?
I had somebody say, I think the first comment I had from people that watched it was, he takes a while to get up.
Yeah, I think it became like a running joke where we were like half the episode is him trying to get up.
And then I think the next comment that I had was, they said... He seems to fall down in a different way every time.
It should be a fall down counter or something. Yeah. Every single fall, yeah. Even this right now, like I said, none of this is scripted. You were just making kind of these falls up as you went along. I mean, I might have told you to fall, but you still did it.
I asked them what they thought of the episode, and I like that one. I really like that
great
one.
Fall. It was like a tactical fall.
I don't know what happens. He just like well, I don't know. They said that. Well, one of the episodes, I don't remember which episode it was, but all they said was, I think this had one of his most unique falls. It's like, of course.
I could like put together like a super edit of like every single fall like ranked, and it would be
over a minute.
It would be a very long video. We'd have to include the stair falls. I'm sure one of the stair falls would be one of the better falls in the series.
The episode 8 one is pretty good.
And I guess I should say...
I saw that hill and I was... we gotta do it.
Some of these falls that you do and some of the stunts you do actually do look like they would really hurt. But were you ever actually... Oh, well, they pretty much are at some points.
Yeah.
Was there ever like a stunt that you did that like actually hurt? I can't recall one, but you're the one that actually feels it.
I think I'd have to keep on watching.
Okay, yeah, because I know here it's like you're making it look like you're dropping a weight on your foot, when obviously I don't think you did.
I did, but not very hard.
Yeah, and that's not from very high up, so it wouldn't do anything. We're pretty careful all throughout. Nobody got like terrible. No one broke a bone doing this movie, thankfully.
This looks painful, but
yeah, most of it's just in the acting. Gotta get that old person persona down, and this is very dangerous.
That would be very painful, bouncing on your chest.
Yes, it would be.
With how hollow his chest is, it would have gone through it. So
yeah,
it's not very accurate.
No, yeah, that's the thing. If you like accuracy, you should probably not watch this film. Accuracy. And a thing worth pointing out, because I haven't said this yet, even though some people might already know this.
I think I got hurt a few times in episode 10.
That's possible, because that was a pretty violent episode.
Yeah, I got hurt a few times in that one.
I guess we'll point those out. But no, all of this was divided up. All of this was divided up into episodes, just like Gaddy was. And this episode, like every episode, kind of had a focus on like what we wanted to get across. Episode 2.
What were we going for?
Episode 2 is the weight episode. This is where like you're trying to get fit and healthy. And I think part of the original plan was that I was still. Man. Oh, this is actually kind of dangerous.
This was dangerous. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want my dad watching, because I'm pretty sure he did end up watching anyway.
Yeah.
But I knew he would, if he watched this with me, he'd say, "Oh, son, that's not right."
I don't even remember if I told you to wrap it like around your neck. I think that might have just happened.
No.
I don't know. It's possible I did.
No, because we don't go from this cut and.
Yeah. This is one of your favorite cuts, I think, where it just cuts and you're immediately choked by it, even though it was nowhere near your neck.
It was an idea.
Okay, all right. So yeah, it's all planned. It
was very realistic.
Yeah, you make some great death noises too all throughout this. But
still wrapped around his throat.
Yeah, like that looks like it would be incredibly painful, but I suppose there's probably some slack on it, so it's not.
Yeah, there was some slack.
You could breathe. We're not putting our actors in that much danger.
Well, until this happened.
And then waterboarding.
This was basically actual waterboarding.
Great stuff. And there was an awkward cut there because you just started laughing, and so it was like, whoop, gotta go away from there.
I remember that. Just spilling it all.
What a messy series this was.
I wanted to swallow it, but I was like, what would Irwen do? And I just let it dribble out.
It was the right call, I think. Oh, and here comes...
whatever is most pathetic.
Here comes the beloved character of Herschel. Where is he? There he is.
He's cute.
Cheese, you came up with the name for Herschel.
Yes, I did.
How did that happen? Why?
I have one of my squirrels I named Herschel, so the name just kind of stuck.
I never knew that. This is lore for me. I've always wondered, how, I don't even know where to begin. There's still so much to talk about. And
well, somebody watched and they said that Herschel looked like a Post Malone baby.
I'm not familiar with that reference.
Post Malone is he's a rapper. A hip hop.
So these are cool tattoos on the baby?
Yeah, he has a whole bunch of piercings and tattoos all over his face, and he's not a very pleasant looking guy.
I never considered this, but maybe Herschel, how it's established, Herschel's said to be around his 20s or 30s. So maybe he is in a period of his life where he's just getting tons of tattoos because he thinks he looks cool. That could make sense.
Well, the actual story behind it is I had to get this baby for anatomy class to mark all the parts of the body.
So that's what you can see.
Yeah. Frontal.
And we never comment on it. We never actually say
No.
So I guess they're tattoos because even though he's a baby, he's implied to be 20 years old. And there's a fall. There's a really nice fall.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And now we're on
second stair fall of the series.
Yeah. And this would be episode 3. I'm gonna try to keep track of all these.
I think this was something new coming up here. Oh. I won't comment on it until it happens.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty disturbing imagery.
Indeed. There's a lot of great screensavers here. But I should say, how did we come up with the idea for Herschel? Why did Herschel come into this?
No, I don't remember. remember.
I'm thinking that what we probably did...
Oh, yeah, he throws the baby and then Biscuit runs by.
Oh, yeah, and I actually added the sound. Yeah, okay, I didn't know how much of this you added, but yeah, because that was just something that we missed. We didn't realize that the dog had walked in front of the camera, and then I was like, oh, wait, that's why Herschel isn't in the next scene, because the dog drags him off.
I really like that.
So it's a nice new detail for the movie. Exclusive for the film. And
I saw that and I just started laughing really hard.
It makes a lot of sense. Logical continuity at its finest. Oh, and this is probably one of my favorite moments because
it takes forever.
And after all this time of seeing him get hurt doing everything he's doing, like you expect something terrible will happen, but all he does is just sit down. And I love just the twist of nothing happens.
Yeah, you're expecting
it. So this is my favorite scene in the whole film.
There's no payoff.
And you just look so calm and it's so quiet. Like the music fades out. We're listening to this muted right now, so we can't comment on like every little subtlety that's happening here. But yeah, I really love this part. Just set it there now and move it on.
It's really cool.
Yeah, we should have done more jokes like that where like it sets up him getting hurt and then nope. But oh well, it's too late now. So this episode 3, like I said, every episode we did, that was new, where it cuts to him briefly.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing how bored I look.
Yep. Because sometimes when I talk to you, like...
I didn't, like, move, it didn't even look like it was breathing in that.
You might not have done. I mean, yeah, because since none of this is scripted, sometimes...
Hey, another character.
Oh, yes. Who? Matt Hawthorne, I think, is his name. And yes, I just made that up on the spot too. Same goes with Bobby, the name for Bobby. There's so much to cover here. We're going to be backtracking for just tons of time here.
Do you like my alphabet lamp?
Oh yeah, it looks very professional in this elderly care center. And I guess the implication throughout the series is that there's Bobby and all the other workers Irwin sees as just looking like Bobby. Like everyone he comes across just is a Bobby clone. Yeah. Which it comes to a head when he has his birthday, and there are literally 2 Bobbies just standing next to each other.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that's just never brought up again. And then it comes all like full circle because at the end, when I'm talking to a person about Irwin's belongings, you expect that it's going to be me, but it's you.
This is one of the best jokes in the series.
Really, you think so?
Oh yeah.
I've always been kind of self-conscious about this episode.
It's really good. It's like cheese.
Yeah,
No, I love this part.
It's strange because...
It just goes on so long, and it goes places. You take it from a really low, and then you just keep on going, and it gets
burn it,
worse.
Burn it!
It deserves to burn!
Yeah, okay.
It's so good.
It's good to know that somebody else likes it, because, you know, since this is Old Man Irwen, it's easy to forget that Bobby is even a character, and so I get kind of self-conscious when Bobby is the one trying to make the jokes. I just feel like people are like, where's Irwin?
This joke goes on for like 2 minutes.
This is pretty much half the episode, because like I said, every episode kind of had a theme or something he wanted to do. Episode 2 was Waves, and episode 3 was The Misunderstanding.
He's freaking out over
it. Which is great. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you came to my house with this joke in mind.
Yeah, I think I thought of this sometime beforehand. I was like, we should put this in here somehow. I just like the idea. And another thing I would have changed is the bag that I'm saying is like an old bag. It looks great. Yeah. It's the bag I use now. It's like in great shape. We should have just used like a terrible looking like plastic bag. I think I told you to look for one, but you're like, no. So I was like, fine, I'm going to use my bag then. So the episode's ruined now. The joke makes no sense.
No.
we got lazy sometimes.
No.
Oh, and this was an edit I had to make because in the original episode, I drag you off screen, but then it kind of awkwardly like hangs on you for a little bit. But there it was. There was a cut, so it wasn't as awkward. I'll try to point out some of the changes I made.
That combat there for a second.
Yeah, I think when I push you into the chair, there's like a shout that you do, but you didn't do the shout. I added it. I think I went, oh, because you made no sound originally and it seemed awkward.
I was kind of startled, actually. That's why. I was
that could have been.
You pushed me there. Huh?
And that's the thing, is that we can both do an old person voice fairly equally, kind of like how we can both do a Gaddy voice.
As you will see in episode 4.
Really? Did we see? Oh, yeah, I guess, I play Buck.
That's a favorite episode.
Yeah, whenever I told...
our fans.
I really do like episode 4 with Buck.
Loyal fans.
It's great. And I like this this whole part too, where Irwin tells his life story. I think this was another beat that we wanted to do of, this is how I got this hat.
I think we wanted to we played around with the idea of bringing Buck back for like a moment.
I think we talk about like a ghost Buck or like
Ghost. No,
something.
it didn't happen.
I didn't really die.
I didn't really die.
And but ideas kind of changed, and we came up with other kind of things to replace it, and there really just wasn't room for Buck as time went on. It just didn't make much sense to bring him back if he didn't have anything huge to do.
I have a story for you.
Yeah. And once again, this is entirely ad-libbed. I just said, tell a life story, make it about your hat. I don't know.
Yeah, the 50 shekels thing is a pretty big.
And I think the thing about this is like we use Audacity to record our voices so we can overdub it so the audio sounds better, but I think we messed up, and so you said the entire story one time over, but we weren't recording it, so we had to do the whole story a second time. And so if you seem like tired and bored, it's because you had to do it a second time. Framing here is awful. I don't know why you're so low, but these are the mistakes we made early on because we weren't taking any of this seriously. Not that we were taking it that seriously at the end, but we put a bit more effort into it. I think there is like a switch. Like there's a point where it goes from us just like recording videos for fun to us like, okay, this is actually something. We need to actually put more effort into this. Yeah, I mean, it was always fun. But I think there is a sudden point where like we realized we should probably put a bit more production value into this and not just like completely make it up as we go along. There should be a bit more structure to it. But yeah, this is still early on when we just were kind of doing this for fun. Because originally we didn't know how many episodes there were going to be. We were just like, we'll do it indefinitely until we get bored. And then eventually the idea came up, well, no, we should probably end it with something. And so then we were like, well, episode 10 seems like it would be a good distance away. And
I think we if we had room, we were going to do 11, but... didn't happen.
You had briefly brought that up because of how the episodes were structured, like we could have fit in an extra one, but I don't think we really had that much more to offer. I think, really, in terms of jokes that we could have put into a series about Irwen, I think we kind of hit them all.
This show doesn't have jokes.
No, it's not. This is not a comedy.
It's not a comedy.
Yeah.
This is very... he's crying. That's not fun.
Yeah. In a lot of ways... There is comedy throughout it, but there are a lot of just like dark moments where you're just like, this isn't funny.
There's some real moments.
But
especially in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, towards the end, like, just Irwen starts losing everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get to that when some of my favorite edits come in of him
crying.
being sad.
That's not funny.
No, not at all, except I think you made really weird crying noises. Yep.
It sounds like a walrus.
It's very, very bizarre. But I guess now might be a good time for us to mention how all this kind of started. So, do you want to explain, like, the original Old Man Irwen?
Well, what? I was just gonna say, I'm glad that we had me wear an undershirt for this costume of Irwen.
Yeah, because there was an original video that you made with your brother, and you had no shirt underneath, like a robe.
I'm pretty sure he's the one that came up with it.
Right.
I don't know who came up with the idea, really. We just decided we wanted to start making videos, and we made that one.
And that was years ago. I don't remember when that was. I could look it up on my phone, I guess, while we're doing this.
I think we only ever did one other video. He never had the time to make anymore.
Yeah, and I remember watching it, like, when you first released it or something, and I was like, wow, this is really good, because he had, like, interesting little angles. And in the original Irwen episode, like, all you did was... You walked into a room, you sat on a couch, you ate popcorn, and then you fell asleep.
Yeah, with popcorn in my mouth.
Yes.
Here's my favorite stairfall coming up.
Here it is.
And then the hamster starts dancing and I knock it over.
Yes. Ah! And there he goes.
I think that's my favorite one.
The thing that you're saying, like, you're pushing me, and it actually looks like...
You're pushing me!
Yeah. And then just cuts.
That was a pretty good one. I actually slid down.
Yeah. And this is episode 4 now. I'm trying to keep track of all these.
Well, so yeah, I remember you'd been trying to get me to make videos of these for years.
I was like, yeah, where's Irwen? I want more Irwen. That was great.
Oh, yeah, you were asking me and my brother to make them.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're not going to make any more.
And then it just was it stopped for like forever. Nobody thought of Irwen for years.
Yeah, and then you were like, let's make our own. And I remember we had like emails back and forth of just like
I didn't know if you remembered that. I was going to bring that
remember.
up. Yeah, I guess that's the next big step is we were on like Facebook Messenger or something, or maybe just by text. And we were just like, if we bring Irwen back, like we should just make like a list of all the weird episode titles. And we made some really weird ones. Yeah. I wish I could have made the list printed out. It? I probably could find it again by like using the search function on Facebook, because I think it was on Facebook that we did it. But like
we did it on the school email.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be difficult then. But there was like really weird stuff, like Irwen escapes with a golf cart. Irwen survives a building collapse. I don't know. Really weird titles.
Other than those emails back and forth, all we emailed to each other was disturbing gifs.
Yes.
And I think I startled with you with one in the middle of class.
That's possible. This is so long ago now. I can't quite recall.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow Irwen was brought up in the midst of that, and we didn't actually.
I think this was in the midst of No Shave November.
Yeah, this is kind of where Irwen started getting a beard, I think, because I know you didn't have it in the previous episode.
Unkempt.
And I forget if you have it in all the episodes from here on out. Probably not. I think you probably shaved a couple times in between. I know you have a beard like towards the end too, but we'll have to keep an eye out.
Episode 9 I had it, and then I shaved, and I didn't have it in episode 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. The dark dimension is not like our own. Irwen says it.
The dark dimension.
We write it off. We have to cover ourselves here. We're very good at... Oh, and this scene makes no sense because in episode 1, Irwen turned on his sink when he was drinking from it, so he should know what running water is. Well, you know what? If you make that excuse, then you're wrong, because Irwen has dementia and he doesn't remember that he doesn't remember that he used to have running water. So, yeah, it's all fine. There are no plot holes in Irwen the series.
There's no plot holes
in Irwen. None. There actually are some, but we'll get to that when Dark Irwen comes in. No, we have to talk about these plot holes. There's a few plot holes here and there, but it's fine to address those. Maybe someone else can come up with explanations. Oh, and this is such a contrived way to get Herschel to fall into the sink. That's the entire reason we did that entire, like, running water is because we wanted to, just because we wanted to drown Herschel. And
well, he escapes somehow, I'm not sure.
I think he just appears in like another scene and he's like dripping wet. And
I don't know how you got the sound effect for that too, because he actually does sound he's drowning.
I was kind of afraid I wouldn't be able to find it. Yeah, I probably put some really weird filter over it. Nice focus there on the candy. That was so bad. I can't believe we kept that. So once again, that was something we would have fixed.
It's the most sour flavor too.
Is it? It's been forever since I've had Warheads. If you couldn't tell what that was Warheads. Because it was so unfocused, you probably couldn't tell. There's the laptop in the background. You see it? It was there for a second. I saw the screen. It was outside the door. We had to put it in some really creative areas in order to make it work.
12 minutes.
Yep. And poor Irwen just wanted his medication. We should have done more medication jokes. And now Herschel is there.
Medication! Whoa. Oh.
It's implied that Herschel can move on his own. Like, he has some sort of ability to move, but you just never see it until, obviously, the end. But it's implied beforehand. Everyone just doesn't notice. And then I guess he does move because there's this scene. I forget that this even happened.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so if you're someone who doesn't like dark humor, then I think this is the part where you definitely check out. But no, and I think the sound continues even as you're walking out.
The baby survives.
Yeah. The babies live to the end. There was talks originally of the babies not making it till the end. We were like, who's gonna die? Is it gonna be Herschel, Uniqua? Who did you say should die? Was it Uniqua?
I think it was gonna be Herschel.
Okay, I couldn't. That's probably right. Anyways, here I am.
I thought that the fans would like it much better if they survived and they fought Dark Irwen, and then Herschel speaks at the end. Mm-hmm. So I thought the episode 10 had quite a bit of fan service in it.
It sure did. Jeez, it really completed the series because this took us forever to film. Like
2 years.
Yeah, and that's not because it needed to take 2 years. It was just because in between visits, we'd do other things. We'd like do a fanfic talk in between.
Link to fanfic talk.
Yes, I have right in the description below. And so we stretched it out like super long, and so we ended up with just this taking forever to make.
Oh, man.
And it didn't need to. So here's a flashback to Irwin's childhood. It would have been interesting if we did more of these in areas, but it makes sense here because it shows that he gets bullied. Sure. Yes, and that makes sense. Don't say it doesn't make sense because Kroger existed in the 1940s, so it works. It totally works. Yeah, everything makes sense. This definitely looks like a 1940s neighborhood. No issues whatsoever. And yeah, what can I say? I do like this part a lot. I think originally we were saying like there should be audio. And I think we tried recording, but it was like really windy. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? How's about we just make this a
I like how he sits down and
yeah.
It's very awkward.
Quaint. We have here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows that Irwin has always been kind of a dweeb, or a Poindexter in this case.
Hey. Oh. Do you feel sorry for our protagonist yet?
If you haven't felt sorry for him, I feel like this would probably be the first time where you're kind of like, this guy's had it rough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It depends on if you can take him seriously.
Look how long anybody can laugh at him. It's like,
oh, yeah. I love that the laughter is so dragged out that it comes up twice.
More laughter.
More laughter.
Laughter.
And and there are no lenses in those glasses. Nope. In case you couldn't tell, those are 3D glasses. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they even noticed. Are those 3D glasses?
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
in the original Irwin episode, you had actual black glasses on, but you couldn't find those, right? And that's why we were just
I couldn't find them.
Here's the 3D ones. If we were smart, we probably would have put masking tape over it.
We had to like cut the scene because the glasses kept on hurting my eyes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, with how long we filmed with you in those glasses, I don't think you would have wanted to wear tight glasses. But yeah, my explanation for that is that Irwin has dementia and he doesn't realize that there's no glass.
We first introduce our antagonist.
That's right. And we weren't sure what he was going to be called at first. We had like Shadow Irwin or Dark Irwin.
We went with the cheesiest possible thing.
Yeah, Dark Irwin just said it was just so obvious. There's the hero, and then there is the Dark Hero. And I actually
the Dark Hero.
This is actually a pretty like creepy little scene because he's just looking at nothing.
Pretty creepy actually. Yeah. And then this look, it is kind of creepy.
And of course, I'll talk more about how that's kind of has a plot hole in it later on, I suppose. But and there I am. That's supposed to be white hair, but it's obviously blonde.
Yeah, you can see your real hair underneath it. Obviously,
the explanation is that Irwin has dementia and he sees black hair when there is none. Every plot hole is Irwin has dementia, and that explains it. 3D glasses.
Yeah, see, look. My mustache grows further on one side than the other, so it looks weird.
The explanation for that is that Irwin shaves sometimes, but other times he doesn't care. It's
also, it just doesn't look good in general.
Yes.
So I normally just shave it off.
And this part, I think coming up, there's like an awkward part where like I say, I'm going to...
I don't remember that chair.
Oh, the chair to your left there?
What is... Whoa.
Oh, you're getting upset.
I don't know that chair. I don't remember that chair at all.
There's a ton of chairs in this room. We're actually in this room right now as we record this commentary track, and there's a lot of chairs. It's because we have a lot... Oh, and
he's wet.
Yeah. See, continuity, because he was drowning earlier. But now he's fine. It all makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
How do you think he got out?
Well, he can move, but you probably just got to grasp on the edge of the sink, hold himself back up. So that's the commentary track. There's a bit more. Yeah, you have two different colors usually. It's usually either a white undershirt or black. I think one time it was red for some reason, and nobody noticed. I feel like it was. Maybe, we'll see, I guess. Oh, this is the awkward edit where, like I say, I'm going to take that bait. Oh my gosh.
This scene right here is the only reason why Herschel lost his leg is because before we did this, actually, I accidentally tore off his leg. Yeah. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Nope.
we couldn't get it back on, so this happened.
Yeah. Which is also funny because today I came over here and Herschel's leg is back on.
Yeah, my dad got it back on.
Yeah, and
I don't know how.
It's so strange to see he has both legs on again.
He's all back to his original form.
He's sitting next to us right now.
Yeah, he was like, by the end of the series, he was like a mummy.
Do you have anything to say, Herschel? It's more of a unique one, but yeah.
I don't know how to... Oh!
Oh my gosh.
He's angry.
And him trying to get up again.
Give me a sec.
Great scene. So basically...
Why is that computer there?
I don't know. Yeah, things just appear around the room from time to time because just every time we filmed there was something different, which is why a ping pong table appears once. But another thing I should say before I forget is that episode 1, there's a lost episode of Irwen that I don't think anyone will ever get to see because before we filmed episode 1, we filmed an episode before that, remember? Where we had
I do, but I also forget at the same time.
Yeah.
What happened?
Before episode 1, we were like, okay, let's make Irwen. And we had no
idea. I remember!
Oh my gosh. Well, do you remember what we did?
Yeah, we had him... I don't remember really...
I remember a couple things, but I'm seeing if you do.
We had him eat something really weird.
Yeah. Yep, we that's where the bread joke kind of came from in episode 1. Yeah, we had it was popcorn, relish, and like bread or peanut butter or something. And you just started eating it on camera. It was so disgusting. And that scene is lost to time now. But I think that's where we got the idea for you eating bread in episode 1 was because I was like, we still need you eating something weird. And so that's where that idea kind of stemmed from. And I think, I'm trying to remember what else we did. In the original episode 1, I think also Bobby just like walked in the room at the end and I had like a chicken hat on and I just did like a or something. And we just thought it was funny. And it made no sense. This is something added for the movie. There's smoke now. The smoke wasn't there in the original episode. You know, because it doesn't make sense. Why would there be fire? Why would there be smoke?
Tape.
And in the next episode, he has tape. And that tape became a real pain. I guess we'll talk about that when it appears. It would have been funny if we had continued the entire series with Herschel's leg just haphazardly jammed into the hole like what you do here. But it probably would have just fallen out all the time, so the tape is probably a better idea. And so here we are again. And every episode we always have these dates at the beginning because we have to like stress that it like months pass or days pass. A lot of time passes throughout this series.
Episode 5.
Funnily enough, I think the series actually it got off track at a certain point because I don't know how to explain this really, but so I won't throw. Oh yeah, see, red shirt. Oh, yeah. I was right.
Here's the episode where we had the multiple deaths.
Deaths? Oh yeah, the calendar. Like yeah, okay. And for some reason, I noticed this when editing the movie. This episode looks so awful compared to everything. Oh, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but like the colors here look muted, and even when I tried to saturate it, it looked weird. And it's very dark in areas, and I don't know what was happening with our camera this day. There's something with the lighting, but this episode just looks really bad in certain areas. But the explanation is that Irwen has dementia, and he can't see this episode very well. Do you get it?
Coming up here is a fan favorite line where he says he's king of ping the pong.
Oh,
but
yes.
I have somebody that argues with me every time. It's king of ping the pong. What? They say it's king of ping of the pong. And they won't just let it go.
What a strange thing.
It's ping the pong, not ping of the pong.
I don't know what to say, Chief.
I said the line. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, so they're debating over what you say.
Arguing with me over it.
Huh. How strange. So yeah, this movie it breaks friendships. What can I say? Just yeah. No one wanted.
I've just had it. I haven't talked to him in years.
Wow. Well, there you have it. You know, this movie it has.
I'm just kidding. I talked to him today.
Oh, okay. Here's Irwen trying to get up again. Every episode has to have Irwen getting up. Here he goes.
Oh, this is a very painful looking one.
And once again, I'm obviously I don't remember this, but originally I was probably telling you like, okay, just kind of take a while to get up, and you just were kind of making up how difficult it was as you went along. Just fall back. And I don't know that Dark Irwin appears in this episode or not. I think it's... Phone. Oh, yeah. You should look out for that too, appearances of the phone and the laptop. Because for being in an elderly care center, there's a lot of technology around. It's almost as if it's not an actual elderly care center. Yeah, he's seeing a phone, but it's not actually there. He never interacts with the phone. I think there was a joke at one point.
Still trying to get up.
Yeah, we just kept dragging it out, just squeezing as much humor out of it.
I'm not sure.
It could be in the entire series. It could be up there. Because I think we just kept wanting to one-up ourselves. And eventually one-upping ourselves would require an entire episode's worth of getting up. Even getting the walker up.
I'm not sure if I actually struggled at this or if I
you probably did. It kind of looked like you actually were struggling. But
some things are real.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that we have that walker prop, because without it, like Irwin, nobody would believe he's an old man.
My grandpa's. Everything that makes up Irwin was my grandpa's, except for the glasses.
So it's very authentic. It's a very
and my
authentic
undershirts.
Yeah. And it's explained at the end of the series that, Irwin isn't... He looks young because of Dark Irwin's dark magic.
I think even the sweatpants was my grandpa's.
Really? Wow, yeah, I didn't know there was that many things.
And then I don't know where those sweatpants are, so like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, we lost them.
Yeah. Oh, the episode 9, I didn't realize I was basically just wearing long underwear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or basically like thermal pants or thermal underwear.
Watching it then it makes it funnier.
Yeah. Oh, and I really love this scene. This is probably another one of my favorite scenes of like you just continuously pulling out like another ball from the backpack, just not saying anything. I love little things like this. Once again, just dragging out the joke. Makes no sense. Herschel's not even moving. And we know he can move, Indiana. So... Yes, it's Indiana sign is in the background of so many videos.
Did we actually try to...
There's the laptop.
Did that just happen, or did we try to do that?
I think you tried. I was like, try to hit Herschel. And it happened after a while. Didn't take that long. And I think this is Irwin. This is when Herschel actually like kind of helps out Irwin. I think this is the only time before episode 10 that Herschel does anything. He comforts Irwin. Because Irwin's just like, I don't know how much longer I can keep this going.
One of the best additions was Uniqua.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the bubble. Yeah, we
yes.
Yeah.
Because, well, we'll get into why Uniqua appeared in time. Yes, if we can even recall. We'll see what happens.
Well, I remember.
Okay, that's good at least. Oh, and this is where we have the big time lapse. Because like I was trying to say earlier...
Yeah, I see what you mean about this episode.
Yeah, it just looks really strange. Maybe it was like evening. I don't know what happened.
About the lighting.
Very strange. But no, we did this time lapse because yep, we did the time lapse because we kept falling behind on our dates, and so we were like, oh, we have to do a time jump, otherwise we're going to be like in 2017, but it's going to be 2018 in real life.
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, every time, I swear the room was always a mess because my family kept on like putting projects down here. There's magazines over to the right. You know, my dad was going through old Sports Illustrated. I'm like, Dad, we're trying to make a video.
Oh, well, no, I think it's great because it adds the idea that the old elderly care center is just like no one cares for it and things just appear.
But
just thousands of copies of Sports Illustrated.
Oh, in like episode 2, you see it. That's an actual mess. That's what the basement looked like. I don't know what they were doing. They were sorting out clothes to take to Goodwill or something.
And I think I added in the movie like the sounds of flies buzzing around because I wanted to make it seem like it was a real dump.
It took forever for them to fix that.
This looks like it would have been dangerous. I think that was something we wanted to do in episode 2, is you having the band around your neck, but we didn't do it for some reason. Huh? That was another thing added for the movie, is I say, what could go wrong before I push you? So many things were added. Yeah.
Like
dementia. This makes just no sense. Use of a basket.
We were
on there.
running out of ideas.
Yes. I was like, we every single death. What are all the ways Irwin could get hurt? And this is just where we did everything, which is probably a really bad idea because had we not had like a bigger plot, this would have just ruined the opportunity for any other issue. Originally, the beanbag dropped on you, and then you started suffocating.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think I cut it so that it was just on top.
Care anymore.
Yep. He's just used to. Yep. Just looks down. Doesn't care.
Oh yeah. We took weight off for this.
Yeah, I think it originally had
just
a lot
in case for safety reasons.
Just be careful. What did I say? Pneumoniatic cancer?
Yeah, and that just seemed like the only appropriate reaction.
Of course, yes.
What happens here?
He has a heart attack. We're kind of remembering this. Sorry, I spoiled it. Calling back to episode 1, because he has a heart attack in episode 1. I think that's the last time you have a heart attack.
Actually looks like?
No. But it might be something else. Everyone's just being silly.
Everyone's birthday.
Yeah, January 21st, because I don't know why. Just for some reason it had to be 21st. And this is important because this is when the deal with Dark Irwin. And here are the two Bobbies. Once again, this is never stressed. Irwin never says anything. I think I had planned to have like a line where Irwin said like, "You all just look alike to me."
It's dementia.
Yeah, but we never did it.
Be the same Bobby by the end. As
It really might not be. The Bobby in episode 1 could have just been a random dude, and just every episode is a different guy. Until maybe towards the end, because towards the end, Bobby clearly recognizes him, but I don't know. This is when you try to eat your cake, but we have you eat an M&M instead. I forget if there was like a deeper joke behind that, if there's like a reason. Probably not.
No,
Just
I don't think so.
making stuff up as we go along.
I think we just found a really dirty looking M&M. I eat it.
I think the thought process was like, we can't have Irwin eating something that kind of looks good, because Irwin must suffer. That's the tagline of the movie. Irwin must suffer. And so,
where is it?
Oh yeah, this joke. Where?
Yeah, it blends in.
Where? Yeah.
You can't even find it until he grabs it. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I think that's because I probably turned up the saturation for the movie, and so it blends in better. So it enhances the joke. The lighting looks a bit better here than it did at the beginning. Still a little off. Very strange. I remember one of the lines that I thought, there's a lot of quotable lines in this film.
It's strange.
Do you have like a line that you think is like your favorite? What would that be?
The episode 10. Should I say these since we're...
May as well before we forget.
And it's thanks to my dark magic that you look like a 21-year-old in an old man get-up. Oh, I never knew.
That's your favorite line?
That was great.
Wow, I mean, that's a good line. I just wouldn't have thought that would be your favorite.
Oh, man, that was so good.
What about all those other great, like,
don't remember
it's as if
right
a
now.
shroud of darkness has covered me.
It's as if a shroud of darkness has come over me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'd have to listen to all of it again, I think.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of weird, quotable things.
It would help a little if we could listen to this with sound.
But we can't. We could have if we put on headphones. Oh well. So this is where we have our first appearance.
It's as if a cloud of darkness is falling over me.
And I think you completely added that. I think I told you not to really say anything, and you just added that in.
It was very cheesy.
And it worked well. If I didn't like it, I could have just muted
The
it.
lighting for this scene was perfect.
Sort of. It was good at first. Like, it's good right here when Irwin comes in, and then it kind of fails.
Yeah.
And it kind of turns around.
I think we had to, like, film it at 2 different times.
Yeah, we started filming, and then we ate and did something else. Yeah, it's a nice addition. Yeah, it looks good. I thought you were gone. And then this is
oh, God.
the time change. I was like, put on that dark filter.
I don't remember why that happened.
Yeah, just 2 different times, and the lighting was really different. It's not awful. It's sort of awful. But no, this is the first appearance of Dark Irwin.
Oh.
Yeah. Dark Irwin's like, I want my boy back.
I want my boy back.
Which I guess now we should just talk about the plot hole I was speaking of earlier, is that maybe you can salt this cheese. At the beginning, Dark Irwin says, I want my boy back. That's like that's what he wants. But then by episode 10, he's like, no, I want you in the dark dimension so I can escape here.
Well, I don't think he really wanted him to know his plan yet.
I suppose, but what if he just came and he said, I want my boy back, and Irwin just gave it to him? I guess maybe he knew Irwin wouldn't give it back.
Well, yeah.
So, he's really playing the long con here. Like, he knows that Irwin's not going to give it back.
If it doesn't make any sense, dementia.
Ah, right. Yeah. Lights.
Maybe none of this happened.
The entire movie just never happened. And this is really late, I think.
If we really wanted to make it dark, we could make it that Irwin just passes away in the elderly care center.
Which, I mean, the series almost ended very dark. We couldn't have this conversation without mentioning the original plan for the ending.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Irwin was supposed to die. That was like an idea we had at the beginning, but he didn't really end up dying. Yeah,
like we were saying earlier when I was talking about how we were on like Facebook or the school email, like talking about ideas for episodes. One of the ideas was that you were going to drown in a kiddie pool. And so throughout this entire series, I remembered that, and I was like, Irwin's gonna die in a kiddie pool.
I didn't want to do it.
And every episode, you're like, I really don't want to do that. And I was like, geez, we're doing episode 5 today. We're not going to finish this for years. Like, who cares? And you're like, I don't want to do it. And in the end, we did not have Irwin die in a kiddie pool.
That episode would have been awful.
Yeah, it sounded like a good idea, like when we were doing episodes 1 through 3.
I never thought it sounded like a good idea.
I thought it did, because I just think it would have been a funny ending. I think, like, the plan was that Bobby was gonna like be drowning because Bobby couldn't swim, and Irwin was gonna rescue him.
It's a kiddie pool.
Well, I know, but that's what makes it like just like all the more funny. But you're right. Oh, there it was.
Oh, here's the first time we use this joke.
Ah, yes, this gag. We read the whole title of the book
times.
3 times. It's not even that good. It's kind of good. I enjoy this kind of weird joke. This is probably my favorite use of it, though. This is the very first time it appears. The big book. Just another random joke we shoehorned in.
I don't. That's a weird.
You said it weird, and we just kept it. This is where you realize that Herschel's gone.
Oh!
And wasn't the reason we did this because we actually lost Herschel? Laptop in the chair. But didn't we actually lose Herschel, and that's why he wasn't in this episode? Or was there another reason?
I think I lost him, and then we found him before this, but...
Okay, yeah, he went missing for a while.
Yeah.
And we got really worried. We were just like, I guess if we can't find him, the explanation will be that he just died. I don't know. But no, before I forget...
I like the explanation.
Oh yeah, and the camera just slowly like panning in as he has to say it. I'm glad that we didn't go with the kiddie pool at the end, though. I like the way that Irwin, he goes out at the end of this movie. It feels just a lot more, like... I don't know, somber. There he goes.
Well, it's pretty happy.
Yeah, it's like bittersweet. Oh my gosh. So this is where we start leading into the big hunt for Herschel, but we didn't really have the energy to do it yet. So this episode is just kind of us arguing about it.
We didn't have the energy for it when we did it.
Pretty much, yeah. It got draining to try to do certain things. But no, what was that?
Was that a sudden slow motion?
Sometimes we would do really weird edits, and since we live kind of far apart, we can't just meet up to like re-record stuff. So at times I do have to kind of slow-mo stuff, so there's not like an awkward cut. So if you look out for that, you'll notice it. There's some things I just couldn't fix for the movie. But no, this is the sneaking episode. Probably the strangest episode, or like the most... weird.
Yeah,
all of a sudden.
Definitely a weird one.
It's a strange twist because
it's
grown
to show his expertise.
Yeah, I
from
suppose.
The war.
Oh yeah.
What war did he fight in? The War of 1812.
That was just a joke we made in like the review video. I don't think it's ever been implied that Irwin's been in the army. I mean, he might have been, considering his age, but he might not have been.
Well, when you see how expertly he does the sneaking mission, he clearly has...
Yeah, he was probably on the SEAL team or something.
Yeah, he was probably
as a Marine?
I'm trying to think of what they say at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3.
A beret, green beret.
Like him.
I don't know.
Someone to do our top secret sneaking missions.
I don't
for us."
remember this at all. I don't even think this is a line.
That's what they say.
Oh,
We
okay.
could use someone like him. Someone to do our top secret sneaking missions for us.
This entire episode is basically our ode to Metal Gear for some reason.
Yeah,
Because we really like Metal Gear.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Yeah.
I remember. I don't know why.
It just
We
came
just
up.
both kind of liked it.
And also, we used up all the deaths or injuries in the previous episode with the calendar. So at this point, we're just like, I guess have them sneak. I don't know. And I think it worked okay. It was just kind of a strange way to take things. I can't say that I'd get rid of it or anything.
Yeah, I don't
but
think a lot of people would understand it.
yeah. So you kind of have to understand Metal Gear, but at the same time, you get the idea of what's happening. He's trying to get away. So, and I do like this whole part of
My debate.
I talked like I was mainly joking, but it would have been funny had we done an episode with like we actually bought Depends and like chocolate pudding, and like we pretended like there's just like a big Depends fight or something. Ah! It would have been an interesting way, but we're too cheap. We're too cheap to go out and do that.
I don't remember that idea.
I brought it up briefly.
Did you actually see me
what it
put
is.
my head in?
Yes, when it goes back. Yep, there it is. You see, like, you just, like, briefly look out. And I remember laughing after that because I was like, I saw your head. But it works because Irwin just has no idea what he's doing. And Bobby's an idiot, too. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
For as many times as Irwin makes a fool out of himself, Bobby's just as stupid.
Bobby's an idiot.
Really. I mean, this part where,
Well,
like...
I had people watching the show. Somebody actually asked me, I think there was a possibility of you meeting one of them. And they was like, I don't know if I want to meet him. I mean, I might not like him because, I mean, is he the same as Bobby?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's a character. He plays a character.
I'm not actually this mean to the elderly. I don't kick them and make them do sit-ups.
What?
Just totally real hand, not a fake in any way.
I wonder if they're ever gonna watch this.
It's possible.
I wonder if anybody I've talked about will watch this. I
No
don't
one
think
will ever
anybody's
watch this
gonna
video.
watch this.
No, this video is purely for us to just reflect on the series, and maybe someday when this becomes a classic, people will watch this. Yeah, we had a prop hand that was just sitting around for like forever.
Oh yeah, we were trying to use this.
Yeah, you can probably see it in the background of like the last episode, quite frankly, because we just had it sitting there forever trying to find a use. We finally got a use for it. We should have taken it to the nth degree and like broke the fingers backwards and like had a bunch of fake blood. Yeah, for all the injuries that Irwin sustains, he never bleeds. Maybe it's another dark Irwin.
bleed?
No.
I like this maneuver.
Tactical roll. Very nice.
He should have broken his back.
I probably added like some sort of weird like brittle sound. Maybe I didn't for that part. Bobby looks at him. Oh, that's the old bag from episode 3.
Oh, they never got rid of it.
They never got rid of it. So much continuity.
Oh, there's Dark Irwin's
Yeah, oh yeah, if you
And
look at the
cane.
table, there's Dark Irwin's hat and his cane because we didn't know how to move props out of the way, apparently.
I think we had an idea to like hide it in episodes for some reason.
No, I don't think we did. I think it was just there. I think we didn't notice.
Why don't you?
I should have went along with what you said and just said, yeah, it's hidden in every episode.
I like that stumble.
Yeah. Once again, lighting's a bit weird here, but oh well.
Oh yeah, we should have like kept them thinking that it was in future episodes hidden, and then people could never find it no matter what.
And we
They
could
would
get
just
people to
keep
keep
on looking.
rewatching.
If we had any fans.
Yeah. Maybe this will become like a cult classic one day. You never know, cheese. I just wouldn't place money on it.
Now, fans, the people that watch now, fans is a strong word.
Mm-hmm, you know, by fans we just mean like friends who watched like a few episodes and were like, huh.
I've had one that watched up to like 6, I think.
And then just stopped?
Yeah, I don't know
What?
why. I can't get her
You
to
never told me
keep
this.
on watching. I wonder if she'll ever hear me complaining about it.
If she didn't get past episode 6, surely she wouldn't get this
she
far
likes
into
it.
a
She says she
commentary.
just doesn't have time to watch it.
Ah.
I wonder if she's ever gonna watch this.
Surely she's not going to listen 1 hour into this commentary track And
what if she skips around and comes right to this?
Oh, it's possible. It's possible. Well, if you're watching this, you should really watch past episode 6 of Old Man Irwen. You're missing out on a lot of content.
I think she said that she watched episode 7 last time I talked to her about it.
You're getting there.
But then I asked her, I was like, okay, so what happened last time? And she said, I don't remember. It was, well...
These are the fans, everyone. These are the fans.
It was like, well, it sounds to me like you should just start back from episode 1.
That table that fell on me in that scene just now, that actually, like, ended up falling on me by accident. Yeah. Like, I didn't actually mean for it to.
It's over for you.
This is such a cheesy, like, running scene, yeah. And we have the game over. Once again, this is just so jarring. It's such a strange thing to do. So, in hindsight, maybe I wouldn't have done that, but it's here now, and, you know, what are you gonna do? We can't cut it out. It's an integral part of the movie. This is where Irwen escapes. Frankly, this probably could have been cut out, though. The entire episode could have just been Irwen just walking out.
Wow, that was the whole episode.
The entire episode is Irwen just trying to escape this room because we were too lazy to drive anywhere or do anything else.
And then he's back in episode 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's caught after he finds out that Herschel isn't there, and he pretty much gives up his will to live.
So soccer practice is in the backyard?
Apparently he said, well, that makes sense. Irwen just put him back down. It's like, soccer practice.
Soccer practice.
Oh, and this dramatic scene of him running out. I think there was audio, like, you could hear, like, you actually walking in the original episode, but I muted it for the movie, so now it's just the music. Just a small note worth pointing out. Yeah, I just said, run dramatically. And that deck is where the series ends. Or where the movie ends.
Very dramatic.
I was like, more dramatic, cheese, more dramatic. Oh, and I like how the bag is back on it, even though it just fell off in the last shot. Not so great continuity. You know, this looks suspiciously similar to Irwen's hometown. You know?
You think?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's just a coincidence.
Dementia.
Dementia.
September 1st.
In this episode specifically, there's a dog in the background.
Where?
You
go back.
Yeah, that's added. That effect of like it looking blurred, that was added for the movie as well. And so this is where things start getting kind of sad. Only so and so. I mean, it's been sad before. And our first look at the dark dimension. I just looked up online, like, smoky darkness, and I just found, like, that background of, like, ink and water or whatever it is. And everything's black and white in the dark dimension, which kind of looks cool for the aesthetic. But it also keeps, like, any green screen from bleeding over onto our face.
I like, playing as Dark Irwen is kind of fun sometimes because I got to be angry.
You got to be something aside from
I
Irwen.
Like acting angry.
Yeah, there like sometimes Dark Irwen just seems like so calm, then other times like you just like let loose.
I'm really good at pulling anger up and then just acting with it.
In the last episode, like you spit and you can like see your spit like fly because you're talking. You'll see it. And so this is him staring at Irwen. And once again, though, this is a plot hole because
I'm acting angry. I do it in such a way I pull up real anger, so I'm actually angry when I do it.
This is like true acting expertise here you're hearing.
Yeah, it's
really live with the character, you know.
That's actual confusion.
Yeah. And that
I think I was confused as like, what are we even doing? Because I was thinking, what?
Yeah, because I was just like standing in front of this green screen.
Oh. And
the green screen was just like 3 sheets of green paper that we just put together.
Yeah.
It was a real pain. And they're still here somewhere in this room. Oh, and that hat and that beard that you're wearing is a part of an Abraham Lincoln costume that I just was like, hey, could you order this? It's like $2.
Wait.
What?
Does Dark Irwen ever get the leg?
Yeah, because he does say in that episode, he's like, I gotta get that darn leg. And so this is what I was gonna say. It's a plot hole because he wants Irwen to die. He's like, as long as he has that leg, he's never gonna die. But he doesn't want Irwen to die because he wants him in the dark dimension. It makes no sense. Maybe.
I don't think we actually pieced together his motives until like after this. We didn't piece together his motives till like after this episode.
Well, I think what happened was I understood his motives. His motives were he wanted his baby back and he wanted Irwen to die. Like, that was part of the goal. And, but then in episode 10, that's when things change and he's just like, well, no, I kind of want you here. My only explanation is that maybe he changed his mind. He was like, maybe he shouldn't die. Maybe I can lure him here and then I can get out into the real world. He doesn't have to die.
Yeah.
So there's your explanation.
Maybe it has something to do with how he becomes Demigor, father of the wolves.
Oh, yes, that's a very important plot point, that. But here is another main character, Uniqua. Do you want to explain Uniqua?
She's such a treat. She was such a treat to work with.
Yeah, a great actress, and always showed up on time. You could say that she just never even left the set. You could say that she's here right now. Isn't that right, Uniqua? Yep, there she is.
Yeah.
And I really do love this part where you're just like
Sports strategy?
Yeah. And Uniqua's just speaking in babbles. And that was totally your idea. You were just like, I don't want the regular baby noises Herschel uses. I just want myself to do babbles. And I was like, okay. What?
She's an actress.
Oh, right. Well, I should mention, Uniqua came into play because we wanted another little thing.
No, that's not what happened.
What happened?
You got me a Christmas present.
Oh, right.
And you got me I think I unwrapped it, and I sent you a picture of it. I was like, why did you get me this? It was like a box of a blood pressure reading kit or something. And then you're just like, the actual present is inside.
Oh, and you actually thought it was the blood pressure machine.
I opened it, and it's the Uniqua, and I'm just like, this is weird.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to get you a weird gift for Christmas, and I went to Walmart, and I just found a small black baby.
I don't think that was the original idea at first to use her, actually.
No, yeah, she was just laying around. It was never really intended to be used, and then it just kind of came into play. I really like the beginning of this episode, by the way. We kind of talked over it, but just Bobby just standing in the darkness of the doorway, and the door just opens on its own. He's like, Irwen, what are you doing?
I think Seinfeld was my idea.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
I'm not sure.
That's probably one of my favorite Bobby moments, actually. It's just when he's just standing behind the door.
What are you doing?
And
what if Bobby's not actually there?
Oh my gosh, it's possible. I don't even think Bobby does anything for the next few minutes. He just stands there. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's pretty much half of Bobby's lines, just Bobby going, what?
Here's a pretty good standing up scene.
Oh, yes.
I think this is one of the first ones where I say, Bobby, are you really not gonna help?
Yeah, about time, too. Is this the last time, actually?
I did that because the people watching kept on being like, why does he never help?
Okay, so, yeah, now we finally... That's because Irwen's getting used to Bobby. He's kind of warming up to Bobby. I suppose if you go by the theory that Bobby changes every episode, this would be the Bobby that's throughout the rest of the movie.
There's a lot of very...
I remember how...
Maybe some people might not notice it, but there's a lot of just really kind of down low baby violence. The whole time I'm getting up, I'm squashing her head with my palm.
I should have added effects, maybe. Maybe I did. One second, were you? Oh, I remember when you threw that football, I was just laughing behind the camera because I was thinking about how funny it would have been if it had come back and hit you in the face. That would have been so great. We probably could have done it multiple times until it happened, but no. It would have been great, though. This might be the last time Irwen actually has to get up. I mean, I can't... Maybe he gets up after this, but I can't really think of a time. I mean, for the most part, this might be it. When his final get-up moment. So now he talks to Uniqua. Bobby's just standing there, apparently. Bobby just disappears. Look, he's not there. Where'd he go?
Yeah, get the ball.
And kind of like Herschel did in the calendar episode, now Uniqua is kind of...
Like my last for this.
Oh, yeah, everyone has a really weird laugh. Uniqua's just a great storyteller. I was mentioning this to you the other day or something, how old these babies are actually supposed to be. And like I said earlier, Herschel, I think, is in his 20s or 30s, and Uniqua is like probably in her 40s to 50s.
Gosh. Oh no!
So she's explored the world, and so she's very world smart. She's very intelligent, and Dark Irwen. He's spying on the scene because he wants that leg back, and he never does get that leg back, like you were saying earlier.
I'm gonna get that leg.
But he changes his mind once again.
I guess I have something else to live for.
Yeah. So at this point, he still wants Irwen to die, but that has to change. Like maybe in the next episode is when the alteration happens. I don't know. And this is when Unique's like, "I'll help."
Maybe he just has fun watching him suffer.
That could be. Dark Irwen is a very mischievous character, very evil. Oh my gosh, shaking of the camera.
Well, he was gonna kill him in episode 10.
Dark Irwen was going to kill?
Yeah.
We had so many ideas for how Irwen was going to die. We had the kiddie pool idea, which once again we didn't want to do.
I don't think it mattered if Irwen was alive or not.
I don't know if we actually planned out how he would die. I think we were just maybe he should die. But we never said oh, he gets stabbed or something. I don't know.
Dark Irwen was getting ready to kill him in 10, but I think the thing is he just needs Irwen there.
Yeah.
As to if he lives or not, doesn't really matter.
That could be.
As long as Irwen...
Well, no, he has to be alive because when Irwen kills Dark Irwen, yeah. So that theory is shot down.
Dementia.
Doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Probably I'm just reusing shots of Bobby staring.
Does it work? Will reality not fall apart if it's a corpse that's in there?
I don't... Here's the thing, maybe Dark Irwin's wrong. Maybe reality won't fall apart if someone's there. Maybe he just thinks that. He probably wouldn't be wrong. I think Dark Irwin knows what he's talking about. Yeah. I think you have to be alive in the dark dimension. And I think it's implied that when you're in the dark dimension, you don't age. So that's why Dark Irwin's alive for as long as he is. I don't know, maybe you do age, and maybe Irwin will someday die, and then reality will fall apart. But that wouldn't be very happy, so... It makes sense that he probably just lives forever in the dark dimension. Although it's not really the dark dimension by the end. It changes colors. It's the Irwin dimension. And when you're in the dark dimension, you can affect the real world in little ways. So it's not like he's trapped there with nothing. He can see the real world and probably appear in it from time to time and interact. So, it works. It works. But we'll talk about that, I guess, when it comes to an end. This is when Irwin says, "You can have all my possessions."
All my valuable possessions.
And you came up with the idea that the possessions should be squirrels, and I was just like, there's no way we're going to remember that.
Collection.
We're not going to remember that joke. And we did. We remembered it for the last episode.
I have somebody who watches, who every time, for every episode, they give just terrible feedback.
Really?
Yeah, they don't ever say anything, really. All they said about 10 was... It was I like how you brought in the squirrels, and that was it.
Wow.
And I'm just all the fan service I did for you, and you don't say anything about it.
The squirrel joke is interesting, but yeah, there's so many other things going on than the squirrels.
So many movies. They couldn't even remember Irwin's wife's name. I wonder if they'll ever watch this. Oh, I love this part.
You're actually drooling there.
Yeah, that's real.
Oh my gosh. I didn't tell you to do that.
Oh no, the effort.
Yeah, I was just
trying to make it look so painful.
You really do sell it here. You just look... And it's funny because in all the other episodes, you didn't have any trouble getting up. This is the first time it's ever even been an issue.
It's pretty good performance.
Oh, and you say, this joke is dumb. We shouldn't have done this joke. This was my idea. I was like, you should say YOLO. It doesn't really make sense.
You only lose often. I don't know. It seemed funny.
I should have cut this.
It seemed funny at the time.
It's not bad, but maybe it's just not for me.
YOLO.
And so this is when...
YOLO, my brothers.
That's right. Irwin should have just been a gangsta in the later episodes. So yeah, this leads into the big journey in the next couple of episodes. Leads to one of the longer episodes of us searching.
How many times have I complained about one of our fans?
In this commentary track
3 or 4 times.
I don't think you said a single nice thing about the fans.
Oh, I have.
Oh, okay.
It's just sometimes they wear me out sometimes.
Yeah, they're a handful, But
Yeah, about
fame gets you lots.
2 or 3, 5 people.
5,
6 or 7.
Wow, that would be a lot.
No, actually more than that, maybe 8 or 9.
I think that was the last stairfall, by the way. Mine is pretty good. So here we are, finally in a different location. After all that time being indoors. I guess we kind of got looks outdoors in the flashback, and then when you went to soccer practice to find Herschel. But no, now we're actually out. We are actually driving.
Facial here.
There's actually someone filming us this time. It's not just the two of us. Like, Mallory's in the back seat. Mallory from episode 1 in the Susan Mask. And yeah, this episode was amazing.
That was a person!
Yeah. And the audio got a little crusty in areas, like while we were driving. I don't know why. And so whenever the audio got bad, I just added like cars honking, and that kind of overpowered the bad audio.
It could.
You know! This is
You were really taking your eyes off the road.
I know.
I kept telling you, I was like, you don't have to do that. You can
I
look
was
forward.
into it.
And you were like, yeah. We could have gotten in a terrible accident. Yeah. But yeah, and then there's this joke of...
Well, you know...
Oh, and you made fun of...
If we had got into a crash, we might have actually, like, attracted some attention to it.
Oh, yeah, YouTube filmmakers get into a crash filming Old Man Irwen. Yeah, I think you've made fun of...
just wanted to make people laugh.
Oh. That'd be really sad. You'd actually, You'd actually have a walker after that. That would have been a great twist.
What did I make fun of, you said?
Yeah, it's a scene coming up. You were making fun of Mallory recording us because she was laughing at what we were doing, and the camera's like shaking.
Oh, the camera's pretty shaky, like the whole episode, actually.
Yeah, not here really, but you'll see. There's like
we were filming in the car.
Mallory, she laughs at a lot of our terrible jokes, and when she does, the camera just starts shaking. But no, this episode right now we're filming in this scene. We are at our old high school in the parking lot. Because there's a bridge there, which has been a common meme between us, that the bridge is some place that somebody would go to commit suicide.
Yeah, but it wouldn't kill you.
No, not at all. There are rocks at the bottom. I guess if you landed it wrong, it might hurt. But
it wouldn't kill you.
No. I guess you'll see it in a second. Oh, and this is when we break the fourth wall. Is this the first time we break the fourth? No. Well, sort of. In the series, in the first couple of episodes, you could hear like laugh tracks, but I got rid of those for the movie. So maybe this is the first time we break the fourth wall in the movie, where Irwen is just clearly reading off a script. And that was actually the first time we actually did write like a piece of a script. But that's because like he had to memorize a certain line. It wasn't like the entire episode was written out or anything.
A body from my past.
Oh yeah, and this idea of like Irwen explaining the entire series up to this point.
I did a really good job on this part.
Yeah.
Because I just I got really tired of talking, and but then I actually got into it, and it became very robotic.
Yeah. It's like, a bullet from my past.
A bullet from my past.
It was really strange. And I think another idea we had for this episode, it was going to start with like a Star Trek beginning. We actually had you record a Star Trek line where you were like, elderly, the final frontier, blah, blah, blah. These are the voyages of Irwen. And I cut that.
Oh, there's your bandanas I wanted you to wear.
Oh, yeah. You brought bandanas for some reason. You're like, you should wear this bandana.
I thought it would be funny.
I just don't think it would have fit. It just would have been strange for me to suddenly have a bandana. Maybe it would have worked. I don't know.
Bobby's trying to act the part.
Maybe. This is you just trying to open up the back seat?
It's trunk.
Oh, yeah, trunk. Thanks. I have nothing to say about this. I have nothing to say about this scene. Just getting out. I think the scene with the shaky camera is coming up after this.
Yeah, the worst part of it.
This entire episode was like, I didn't know that we'd be able to. Yeah.
This is so. I like this scene.
And I reach my hand out because like I'm making it seem like, hey, you can hand me Uniqua, but you don't. And originally,
oh really?
Or yeah, well, you start handing it to me, but my idea was that you would give it to me and I'd just immediately drop it as soon as you handed it to me, but you never did. And then this happens, which was completely unscripted, and that really looks like it hurts. And then there's this scene.
I don't remember if this hurt that bad or not.
I don't think it shouldn't have, because that's a pretty smooth hill. Oh my gosh.
I got itchy.
Probably. There's a really steep hill leading to the bridge, and while we were walking down, I was like, should Irwen trip down this hill? And
we both saw it, and we were just like,
It's
happening.
Yep. So there's the bridge, very high up. I always thought how funny it would be if like we got like a dummy and we threw it off like an actual huge bridge, just like a dummy of Irwen, and it was just obviously fake. And while it falls, like we have you dubbing like,
to kill myself.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did.
A lot of deep lore here. Irwen's had a really tough life, This is when he was getting bullied by Buck and stuff, probably, and just didn't see another way. But it's mostly played for laughs, rather. And the audio, or the entire thing about this episode was that since this was the first time we were filming outside for such a long time, I didn't know that our battery would last, either on the camera or on the laptop. And so the entire time I was pretty much rushing us. I was like, we've got to be fast, otherwise the battery's going to die and we're going to be stranded pretty much. It did die, but towards the very, very end, and you'll see when it happens. But for now, it's pretty good. The audio got a little weird in places. Right now, the laptop is like on the bridge, and I think you can see us like walk around it because we don't want to step on it. We did good in the later episodes of hiding that laptop. But yeah, there we go. Now, where's the laptop in this scene, Cheese? Yes. But the laptop is here. Does anyone know where it is? Anyone want to take a guess?
Oh, you're holding it.
I'm holding it in my right hand. I mean, you don't really notice unless...
the top of it.
Yeah, it briefly peeks out. You wouldn't really notice unless you were kind of like looking for it, but it is strange. And so then there's this scene. The audio was a little bad. We had to kind of dub over some of the stuff here. But the idea was that we were just looking for dark energy.
My destiny and my depends are full.
What a great line. Classic, timeless line.
We should split.
He has 3 Uniqua. It's implied that, Irwen does like Uniqua, or he loves Uniqua, but I think he likes Herschel more. I think Herschel is his favorite child. Oh, another plot hole. I almost forgot this plot hole, Cheese. This is big. In like one of the first episodes, when like Herschel first appears, Irwen says, you always were my favorite of the 3 boys.
Yep.
And who are the 3 boys? I guess Irwen must just have other sons that we never see in this. And I guess he must not like them because...
Well, he has dementia.
Yeah, maybe he miscounted. He forgot to include Uniqua and he didn't know. It's fine. It's all...
He thinks Bobby is his son for some reason.
Oh, and that was another idea that we briefly touched on was like, there's going to be these fake babies. There's Herschel and Uniqua. And then like towards the end, like Irwen is going to have like an actual son like come in, played by me. But he would just like not care for him at all, which would have been funny because he's like a real person. And he's like, why don't you love me, Dad? But we didn't do that. I don't know why we didn't do it. I think the idea just kind of faded away. And it was kind of too late to include it in like an episode this late into things.
Oh, the darkness!
Yeah, and I think it actually was hot. I think we were starting to burn up.
Yeah, it was. The funny thing, I brought only fruit snacks and water as there are actual rations.
Yeah.
I really did only just bring fruit snacks.
Even looks hot. Like everything's all blurry and kind of...
But in the episode, Irwen doesn't bring water.
Nope.
Nah, you didn't share any of the water with Mallory.
Nope, yeah, poor Mallory had to film all this, but we're the ones doing all the actual acting, so...
Fruit snacks.
Kind of works.
Ooh, fruits.
I should ask before we forget, is there like, what is your favorite scene throughout the entire movie? Because we watched a lot of it at this point, so surely you might have seen it or you know that it's coming up. What do you think is like the best?
The Myers scene is pretty good.
Oh, really? So we're actually pretty close to it.
I think it's pretty good because, actually, for like episodes 1 through 7, I think this is the first time he actually gets out and he really starts smiling again.
Yeah, he actually kind of seems lively because he's outside the old folks' home, which kind of comes to a head towards the end when he has to go back.
Some of the rage at this part was kind of real because they
Oh yeah, there actually was a motorcyclist in front of you.
We're here!
The audio got so bad that I just had to cut it. We're here! And so this is the part, this was the last thing we filmed that day. And this is when the battery was getting really low. And the laptop survived, but the camera did not.
See, this is part of his important character arc, is because he finally gets back outside and he's smiling again.
Yeah.
He's enjoying life again.
And then he has to go back. And that's what makes that scene so sad. I'd say my favorite scene throughout the entire movie. To the elderly care center. There's that cut. Yeah. We'll get to that, but a lot of this had to be dubbed, by the way, because the audio was really bad because of the wind.
This part's really good. I love this part. Yeah, this is one of my favorites.
Like, it was like a whole new world.
Oh, man.
Because we were so used to being, like, just stuck within this room and looking for things to injure you with. But now we had this entire park to injure you with. Like, the possibilities were endless.
I made it so complicated.
Yeah. And the music gets all dramatic. This is, like, one of the first times that we use, like, non-1940s music. I guess we also kind of used more dramatic. Oh, my gosh. What a dramatic scene. And then just fake out. Gotcha, you didn't see that coming.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh, just
Why
hilarious.
didn't you say before?
Great stuff. I remember being really concerned when I was editing this part of the episode, because without the music, it's really awkward. And it like feels really disjointed and weird. And I was like, wow, this episode's going to be awful. And I was so worried. And then I put music on, it was fine. So a lot of this series... Oh yeah, I like this part a lot. I think that was my idea.
They're telling me.
But what could it mean?
But what could it mean?
And I think it's when Irwen goes down the slide that the camera finally dies and everything goes wrong. But I think my favorite scene throughout the entire movie might have been the ping pong table, now that I think about it. I really like that ping pong table scene where you're playing ping pong with Herschel. Such a great scene. It might not be. I'd have to keep watching, but I do really like that part. And so, yeah. Now I'm just kind of stretching this part out of him going down the slide. There's fire and stuff going on. And there was actually a part of you falling out of the slide. Like you shot out of the slide, but that was cut out for a few reasons. And so this is when the camera died, and we're using a different camera here. You can't...
Using Mallory's phone.
Is it Mallory's phone? I thought it was yours. Okay.
That was Mallory's.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can tell it looks different. It looks very different. It's much better once we put new audio on it.
Well,
it's
that
not
was all
nearly
we
as
had
bad.
to do with it, though.
Yeah, so it didn't last long, and this scene was shot earlier. There's the laptop in front of me, by the way. But this shot was done way earlier, so...
I didn't notice.
Yep. Didn't really have anywhere to hide it there. So... Yep, that laptop's just all over the place. And here we are at Myers.
I remember when I first watched it and I heard the music start.
And originally you were going to do it at Kroger, right?
Ooh, I don't know. I think I debated on it. But
yeah, we were thinking about doing it at like Kroger
we could do
or
an
Walmart.
episode there someday.
Maybe, if or whenever does like a Christmas special or something. But yeah, this is just the first ever like longer music sequence. Oh, I guess we had one with the calendar.
I don't think I'll be working there anymore, so it might be like the first time they see me in a while.
Ah, okay, there you go. Oh, in this part, I saw it was around Halloween. I was like, we gotta get that skull. We gotta get that skull across the room.
Gotta get that skull.
And we were in like a part of the store that like nobody was in for some reason. Like it was dead.
Well, there's some people.
There's a few, but I think the entire time we were there, I think only like a handful of people saw us. Like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive, actually.
I like that. I didn't even know. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't notice that I actually had them closed.
Oh yeah, with the binoculars. That was actually a separate shot that you did at your house.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody probably could have noticed. But yeah, here's a bunch of Halloween masks. Oh yeah, we found the baby. We're like, oh yeah, gotta use that baby.
Symbolism.
Yes. It looks right at the camera.
Oh, I love this.
I like just having Irwen in an area that's just like, what is this? He's just scanning for the dark energy. This is a pretty good moment. Just this entire segment of... And just... Bobby gets like angry, I think, towards the end, and he just like slaps something out of your hand, or I forget.
I love it.
But this was a great part. The most awkward part was going into the store and like the greeter at the doors was like said hi.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, they could just obviously tell you weren't an elderly
I like
person.
that joke.
Oh yeah, trying to call on the phone. Very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's somebody in the
I actually
background.
seem like angry.
Oh, yeah, and we even look over there. Oh, I like this. He starts skateboarding.
I think you were scared to do this. You were kind of
Yeah,
like,
I was.
I'm going to fall. Oh, and then we saw this right before we left. And that's how it goes into...
There's a guy
Yep. My headcanon is that that's the manager kicking us out of the store.
Oh.
It wasn't, but that's my headcanon now. So this is where things actually like get like legitimately sad. Like whereas everything else kind of always had like a comedic element to it, like this is when it's actually kind of just depressing and there's not really a joke until like the very end.
I remember the parking.
Yeah, oh yeah, you did a really awkward parking job on purpose. And there we were. This was actually the first thing we shot because I wanted to get it out of the way. We were actually worried that we were going to get like pulled over by a cop or something. You can't shoot here. This is a nice place. I don't know. You probably are not allowed to shoot in a great. Oh yeah, and this sets up, Uniqua doesn't know about her mother. Once again, we kind of planned this out ahead of time. We were like, Uniqua has to leave for some reason. There has to be some drama. She has to break away from the group. Oh, just looking at some things, but yeah. Yeah, yeah, she is. I like just her banging the head against the wall. I think that was me. I think I had to like crouch down and bang it against the wall. And so yeah, then there's just this sad moment of everyone walking around. It was such a strange feeling to be shooting somewhere else that I really wanted to milk it for everything. So I was just like, let's get some really long shots of us walking. And it looks pretty good. I think it sets up for Margaret's death pretty well. And it's pretty amazing now that Margaret's death is hinted at in episode 1 at this point. Because you completely forget about it at this point. This deep into the film. But, no, here we are. And,
Oh, you didn't even see me fall.
oh, yeah, that was a little joke where, like, he fell. I, like, whispered, like, fall. And he fell, and we really didn't keep it. We kept a bit of it. And,
there's cars.
yeah, some people will, like, walk by, and we just feel, like, really awkward, and we just kind of stand around, like, talking as if, like, nothing weird was going on. Yeah, the same thing happened in the next episode, too, or in the following episodes. But, yeah. And I think we were kind of we scanned the graveyard for a while looking for the most pathetic grave.
Episode 9 had some of the most awkward behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that, I guess. And the grave that we stop at, I don't think it's an actual grave. I think it's just a concrete slab, probably like holding in sewage or something. It's like a sewage thing. I don't know.
He doesn't even. Maybe that's not even her real grave. He just thinks it is.
Yeah, it might not even be hers. I don't know.
His dementia makes it look like it.
You can't trust her. Irwin is not a trustworthy protagonist. You really don't know what's happening. But yeah, here's where we find the grave, and there's a fake out that it's the big one, but and then it pans around, and you see that it's a tiny grave that's not actually a grave. If this were real, it would confirm that Irwin's last name is Province. We never do learn Irwin's last name. Wonder what it is. What is it, Cheese? Pennyworth? Alright, it's canon now. We said it in the commentary tag. It's canon. That cannot be a grave. I don't know. It's evenly spaced, but there doesn't seem to be enough room. What?
What's his middle name?
I don't know. What is it? Barkley Barnsworth? Irwin Barnsworth Pennyworth?
Irwin Bartholomew?
Irwin Bartholomew Pennyworth? That might work. These are tough decisions. These usually aren't things we'd come up with on the spot like this, but he's only ever referred to as Old Man Irwen. Actually, I don't think we actually call you Old Man Irwen. Oh, yeah. I forget whose idea it was to have, like, Bobby say something, but now it's like, not such a great driver.
How he looks like.
Yeah. It's a great...
Obviously not such a great driver.
Even though it was Irwin's fault that the car wreck happened. Or at least,
He doesn't take the blame.
Oh, well. Irwin might not even remembers part of it. But no, I forget what I was going to say. There's something I was going to mention about this part, but oh yeah, right behind. If you look behind Irwen, you can see the old bag sitting next to the province grave because we didn't move it out of the way. And later on in the scene, after Uniqua leaves, you can just see her laying next to the grave because we didn't move her either. Yeah, not our best work. This is when this is the first time that it's implied Bobby can actually hear and like see the babies moving. Because up until this point, like, you could argue that it was all in Irwin's head. But now, like, Bobby actually, like, looks at him. Or her, rather. So, if we were smart, maybe Bobby would have been, like, texting during this part, and he wouldn't have noticed. That would have made, like, the surprise in episode 10 a bit better, but oh well.
No.
And she walks off. And I think you say in this scene, like, your blood pressure. She has high blood
pressure.
Yeah.
Your blood pressure! Oh.
And Bobby's gone now. He's disappeared. He should be, like, right behind you.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense, because Mallory could have filmed this. I guess I didn't trust her. I couldn't trust her. I'm sorry. It's a very sad scene. And now, go back to Irwen moving towards Bobby. I mean, now I'm just describing the scene because there's nothing, like, huge I can say.
I'm pretty sure whenever I scream here, there was somebody nearby.
Was there? I know that there was like an elderly man, or maybe not elderly, but he was like walking around the graves for a while. And we're like, come on, what are you doing? Get away. What are you doing? You actually trying to pay respects to the dead? We're trying to film a video.
We're trying to film a video.
And we said that to him, and then we forced him off the property.
I'm pretty sure we kicked him.
Yeah.
You kicked him, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty big scene.
Yeah, it was cut.
Yeah, it was a cut scene. And yeah, right, there's the bag, and if you... Oh, well, no, actually you can't see Uniqua there.
Bag.
I swear Uniqua can be seen back there. Maybe it's coming up. We're just going to point out all these things, and you're never going to be able to see it the same way ever again. I do like how he drops to his knees, though. We will never know if that's a real grave. That'll bother me for the rest of my life. I know originally, since the plan was to have Irwen die in a pool, I actually went to a graveyard at one point, and I recorded some of the graves. There's Uniqua right there.
Oh, man.
And, but I recorded some graves, and I actually found one that had Irwen written on it, spelled wrong with an E, and I was just like, well, I can probably use this. So I still have that saved on my phone, but you'll never see it. Because we didn't use it because Irwen didn't die. Which sort of works. It could have been cool to have, like, the grave at the end. And so, here is, once again, we're outside. Another day.
Jogging.
Yeah, Bobby's just on his jogging path, apparently. He's just completely forgotten about Irwen again. And he just happens to stumble across him while going under this shady bridge. And you came up with the idea to go to this bridge while we were in the graveyard, because it's kind of close by. And it worked pretty well. Sound was pretty fine. And Irwin's just gone rabid at this point. We liked the idea of Irwin using it. Yep. And it was kind of an inverse of what happened with Gaddy, because towards the end of when we filmed Gaddy, we had to film the intense heat. And in this episode, we had to film in the intense cold.
Man. Oh, man.
Now, are you saying, oh, man, over the eating or the cold?
No,
the eating, yeah. I was just like, eat rapidly. And that was your actual lunch.
Yeah, it was.
And we made a mess. We made a mess under the bridge.
It was disgusting.
Like, there was bread and water spills everywhere.
Absolutely. Water! Oh, man.
And I think I added, like, sounds of me going...
Yeah.
Second waterboarding.
I kept on laughing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that scene took a while to do because he just kept laughing.
We were running out of water to use. Oh, I love that scream.
And the thing is, like I was saying, though, it was so cold when we were doing this. And, oh, there's your different pants. You can tell you're wearing different pants. The explanation is that Irwen lost his pants while he was going rabid. And so he stole those off of, like, a hiker or something. And he also became king of the wolves, but that might not have happened.
Demigorgon.
Demigorgon.
He came up with that.
There's a bunch of construction. This is like the awkward parts we were filming this episode.
There was a lady that kept on going by with her dog.
Yeah, and it happened. She went by us like 3 times.
Yeah, the third time she was like, "Excuse me," We were in our way. We actually didn't hear her coming, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Excuse me." Ah!
And there was like construction going on and like workers.
These losers over here were watching us the whole time.
Were they? I didn't look over at them. Oh, and you
Yeah.
have gloves on now, by the way.
They were watching us the whole time.
It was probably an
I was freezing.
Yeah, it was so cold.
I really like it.
Oh. But the thing that got us through this was just like, I was like, well, this is probably when it will end. Like, we don't need to do any more really outdoor scenes after this.
Oh, this hurt.
It did it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember you saying that afterwards. It's like the idea of just Irwen completely forgetting almost everything until, and this actually brings the leg back, because up until now the leg has been kind of forgotten, but it actually kind of makes sense now because Bobby uses it to bring Irwen back. So see, we kind of know what we're doing. It kind of makes sense sometimes. But after this, I don't think the leg does anything. So, it sort of makes sense, but not really. And so this is when Irwen realizes that he has to return on his journey, and it leads into some of the sad scenes coming up. Probably leads to the saddest scenes of the entire movie. Like the real low point, because every movie has to have a low point. And so that's kind of what we reach coming after this. Actually, no, first is the story of Demigorf and the wolves. Who came up with this idea?
Oh, I think we came up with it over the phone call. We were like, I think at first we wanted him to like have to fight off a pack of coyotes or something. But then we settled on this.
Yeah, we couldn't afford any coyotes to fight, unfortunately.
We really wanted something absurd to happen.
Yeah, I think I recall a bit, like, the original plan was like it was just the story would go on for a really long time, and Irwen would like keep saying like unbelievable things, and it would just get like weirder and weirder.
Father of the Wolves.
But I think I just settled on Father of the Wolves. I didn't want to drag this one out too long. And Bobby was just like, what? Maybe this happened, maybe it didn't. Irwen has a jacket, maybe he made that out of wolf fur or something. Very interesting. And this is in a different area. I think we did this like in front of your house. We go to a different area. I don't know why I even bothered bringing that up. No one would ever notice, but I just brought it up. So there we go. And, Bobby actually kind of undergoes a bit of an arc himself. Or he really does, too. Because he starts out just not caring about Irwen at all, but by the end, he's raising his kids. Even though they're in their 20s and 40s.
That, out of context sounds creepy.
Yes, yeah, it does. One thing that... I mean, we could bring it up now, because we might have to have time when we reach the end, because we'll have a lot to say, but...
By the end, he's raising your kid.
By the end, do you think that Bobby has kind of like gone nuts, or do you think that he's on his way to become the next Irwen, or do you just think like he's still Bobby, but he's raising the kids?
I think he's still Bobby.
That's what I think too. But I could easily see someone like looking at that and saying, "Oh no, he's going to become the next Irwen. He's going to like start raising these babies."
What if it is like a never-ending cycle?
It could be, and maybe the babies really aren't talking, but Bobby just slowly starts losing it, and he starts thinking.
Complicated.
Yeah. Hey! We want a happy ending here. This isn't a sad story. And so this actually happened. It took so long between videos that the entire park was torn down, remade, and when I saw that it was being remade, I was like, well, I guess we'll film over here because it'll be sad for Irwen to see his childhood park get torn down. It's kind of sad for me because that was my childhood park. So now it's all changed. And originally, it was all torn down and there wasn't like anything there. And I really wish we had gotten to it then because it would have just been blank. But no, they put some stuff in just before we could get there. So you kind of see there it's all new, different colors and everything. And so this is probably the lowest part of the entire movie. And I like sad stuff, so this is probably another one of my favorite scenes, just not like in a funny context. I really like the cut where it's just like Irwen staring at the park and then it just insta-cuts to him looking at the elderly care center again. Just like, he tried so hard, but then didn't get anywhere. He's just right back to where he started. Great stuff. Great stuff. No jokes here again. I guess I patted your back kind of hard and you fell forward. We can't help ourselves sometimes. We just can't. We just want Irwin to get hurt.
Symbolism.
Sort of. Not really in that case. That's not symbolism at all. But now he's back, and nothing will ever be the same.
Sweatpants.
And sweatpants. But pay no attention to the sweatpants. And somewhere along the way, Irwin got a squirrel necklace.
Yeah,
I don't know
that was
when
a mistake, but
Well, it makes sense because Irwin has a squirrel collection, and in real life, you're obsessed with squirrels now, and so you collect them, and that's why we have all those squirrel things in the final episode. Oh, and we're about to reuse our hilarious book joke.
It's so good.
Did you say that the fans don't understand that?
No.
Or that you had to explain that to them?
Well, I don't know.
I know you said you had to explain something. It was the Arbor Day joke.
I have two that have watched it and they thought it was funny. The other one that never gives any feedback made no comment on it. And then the other one that hasn't watched.
Oh, yeah. They'll get around to it.
Pictures.
Oh, yeah, we took a bunch of pictures all around the house of Irwin interacting with the kids. It was a pretty sad, sad little moment of We had a bunch of ones that weren't used either, and those were pretty cool too.
Yeah, the one that never gives feedback didn't understand the Arbor Day thing.
Yeah.
Even whenever I explained it, they still didn't get it. It's like, but why don't I?
Yeah, if you don't understand the Arbor Day joke, the joke is that there is no joke. I mean, Arbor Day is...
But what about Arbor Day?
Arbor Day is just a holiday that's celebrated in like very specific areas where like it's about trees and stuff. But the thing is that Irwin thinks that it means something, and Bobby does too, even though it's just it's a nothing. It's nothing.
Now this effect
I hate.
The budget went into it.
But this effect, like something weird happened where like on my editing side it went completely black, but in the final version you can still see there's like some red left for some reason. I don't know what happened there. It looks okay, but then this portal looks awful because I was so upset.
Just laughed at this part.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was just really cheesy.
Yeah, for some reason we didn't.
What did you do?
We didn't. We didn't. For some reason, I like handheld this part instead of putting it on a tripod, so the portal's like moving around awkwardly. I was so upset in editing that I did that.
I love this.
We just kind of had to shoehorn it in.
A lot of my facial expressions are really good. I don't remember like doing it on purpose, but they came out really well.
Yeah. Irwin's a completely different person at the start of the series. He has a different voice, and he doesn't make as many facial expressions. Towards the end, though, he's very expressive, like you see there. So, yeah, I mean, like you said at the beginning, he undergoes like an actual full-on arc. Did you say that you wanted to cover that? Because now would probably be a decent time since we're pretty much around the end. Like, just cover where he started and how he changes.
2 hours.
I mean...
But, yeah, he starts out really depressed and he wants to die. And then we have episode 7 where his daughter comes back, and then episode 8 where he's finally going on an adventure with his daughter and his reluctant friend, and he's smiling again finally for the first time in who knows how long.
And he actually like cares about life.
The last 2 episodes happen.
Yeah.
Arbor Day!
And somehow the series actually did become like about family. We have a joke that
it was a joke.
It's about family, but it actually did somehow because he has the kids. So it's interesting. And so this was the lead in to the final episode where we step through the portal. And oh gosh, the entire Dark Dimension thing was something I was dreading for the longest time. Because
it came out better than I thought.
Oh yes, because
you can see the tripod in the back.
Oh really? That we should have been using it. And there goes Bobby. I think I had to insert that clip of you nodding because there was like an awkward edit or something. That's the thing. If you notice any awkward edits in the movie, it's probably like one of like 18 that I hid.
Somebody watch and. Somebody who hadn't been watching before, as far as I knew, just texted me out of nowhere after this came up and saying, "It's time to go bananas."
Yeah, I
really like that line.
You made that one up, and I feel like I almost cut it, but at the last minute I was like, I should keep that.
That was good.
And it makes for a nice little
I
line.
wanted you to have like a one-liner, but we couldn't come up with one.
Yeah. Bobby's just such like a... He's
like
the
Brett.
straight man, pretty much. He doesn't really do that much weird stuff. Except for when he does. But here's the dark dimension, and for this you had to drive down to my college campus.
Ooh.
I mean, do you want to cover this? Because there's so much to say about this entire process. And like why we did it. And
Oh, this isn't it yet. This is the end.
oh yeah, this is the end of that part of the episode.
Well-
We find out that Herschel is evil.
Because your college campus has little studio rooms with green screens and other equipment that we didn't know how to use.
Yeah.
Oh, they had lights, but we didn't know how to use them.
Although they probably wouldn't have helped seeing the final version. I mean, since everything's black and white, the lighting doesn't really matter. It sort of does. But here we are. And I was so worried. Because originally we weren't sure. Like, we were like, should we film this
I was so scared.
Should we film this on the college campus? Or should we use, like, just tons of sheets of green paper?
Oh, that would have been awful.
Oh, yeah. I can just think, save it now. See it now.
I remember I spent the night on your hard-tiled
Yeah.
room.
You had to sleep on the floor because obviously my roommate was using the other bed.
Very talkative roommate.
Yeah, he's just always talking. He was actually very quiet.
I never knew what to say the whole time. I don't think we ever exchanged words beyond hi
That's fine.
the first time I walked in.
That's more things than I said to him.
And then I think I was playing the Switch in your room, and he was just in bed looking at his phone. And he looks up at me and he goes, you can listen to whatever you want. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So I turn up the volume on the TV and he's like, no, I mean like, you can listen to stuff on your phone if you want to. And I was like, I don't have headphones. My phone doesn't have an audio jack. It was just really awkward.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, I had nothing to say about that. You have it. So lots of...
I was relieved whenever he left.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, you were in a very different world. You had to go all the way to a college campus just so we could film this ending.
The lunch was surprisingly good.
I forget what you even had. Not that it
I
matters
just
for
had
this.
chicken tenders, mozzarella sticks, and French fries.
One thing that should be pointed out about this part is that to get to the studio, we had to walk all across campus with a bunch of heavy film gear.
Oh.
And I don't know about you, I've been saving this, but like when I got there, I just felt so drained. Did you feel it too?
Yeah, that's why we probably had a slow start, because we were so tired from the walk.
And
not to I've only told one person this behind the scenes story. We walked through a building and everybody was having lunch in the cafeteria. At the moment we walked through the cafeteria, and my walker got caught in someone's chair, and I was like,
did it?
Ah!
I didn't even know that.
You didn't notice it. You were going ahead, and I was like, I got out of there.
Great stuff.
Man.
Great stuff.
It was awful. That was so weird.
You should have carried around little flags that showed off like what we were working on.
We haven't even actually commented on the episode.
Yeah, it's easy to get distracted. But yeah, like you said, it came out much better than we thought. We had to change our shirt and the bag because for some reason we were wearing green in the prior episode, and for some reason I didn't realize that would be an issue until we started filming. I am glad that I remembered it before we filmed this, though. Can you imagine if we had left those on? And so I have like a green stripe on my shirt and I would have just been invisible. That would have been awful.
I forgot he's calling Herschel's name, so I thought he was just opening his mouth.
Oh, yeah. This came out pretty good. I was so worried because there were so many ways it could go wrong. And there are times you can tell that the green screen messes up.
Come back to me, boy!
Today I saw Herschel for the first time and he has his leg back. He has his diaper back on. He doesn't have bandages anymore. It's really strange.
As soon as I got home, I gave him a bath.
This is such a funny sight.
Nobody helped me in with any of my luggage.
Oh.
I think my mom brought in one bag and that was it.
Poor cheese, poor cheese. You did have to bring
I
a
was
lot,
actually
too.
kind of mad about that.
I'm just glad that...
Oh, yeah, and then whenever we brought it back out to the car, we got everything out in one trip.
Yeah, we were pretty fast about picking everything up because we were just being lazy. Like the red eye effect there. It was a great effect.
It was good!
Great effect. All this is great. Great stuff. But no, I think at this point we started to kind of get we started getting back into the swing of things.
Oh, man, that's so cheesy.
But we were drained for a really long time. And it is unfortunate that...
Part of it might have been because we ate beforehand.
Maybe, yeah. It
ate
took
a lot.
Yeah, you had like fries in the sandwich and all that stuff. It was just draining.
It was chicken, not a sandwich.
Oh, right,
What are
sorry.
you doing?
And I think Bobby...
Don't give them misinformation.
Sorry.
I'll fight you.
Yeah, we filmed all these like very separately, and so it became hard to kind of like keep track of like, wait, so what does
It was like
Dark Irwen
Infinity
say?
War.
Well, yes, but much less planned out, and it actually worked out pretty well.
Here's where I hurt myself. I think the most painful thing was hitting myself in the face with the...
Really?
Yeah, it's
out of
really
all the
hard
things that we did in
plastic.
this episode, I didn't think
Yeah,
that
and
would
then
be...
actually punching him hurt, too.
Wow, that's amazing. You would think that out of all the stunts you did, like, just think that this is the thing that actually
No,
hurt
I
you.
actually beat myself up.
Yeah. And this fight
yeah,
came
it
out
came
looking
out
actually
really
pretty
good.
decent.
Yeah.
We learned a thing or two from Gaddy. Thanks, Gaddy. And
I love
I'd been waiting for this. A joke that I'd wanted to do for years was putting a baby into a bag and swinging it around because you think it's a wild animal.
I love the running it. This is the fight the whole show's been leading up to. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
I at the time we were like, this guy has got to look awful.
This was a good gag here.
Oh, you're pulling down the hat.
Yeah.
I think we made that up on the spot too. The beard is obviously off.
It's like so ridiculous. You're just standing there,
Yeah.
and then you go.
We were a bit skeptical at first if we wanted to make Dark Irwen kind of wacky. And he is a little bit, for the most part, he's pretty...
Abracadabra! Oh yeah, there it is. Right in the forehead.
I can see it, because it is a really, like, thick
I got really tired. And
I kept telling you to hit the baby.
My voice a little bit. I'm like, because I was hitting it. I was like, I gotta keep on going.
Fighting babies can be tough. Oh, and this is another cut scene, is that Dark Irwen was originally going to hit me with, like, a white thunder attack or something.
Oh, yeah.
I ended up getting rid of that because it kind of worked without it, and I was getting lazy. I didn't want to do the effect. And so,
Nobody really laughed at this joke here.
Oh, really? At something like dying... I like that part. I like that joke. I will stand up for this joke.
Nobody laughed at it.
Well, you didn't watch everyone as they watched the episode. Some of them watched it on their own. Some people...
Neither my parents or the other two that I watched it with.
Dang it. I
Yeah.
like that joke.
I like that.
I love that joke. It's my favorite joke in the entire
It's
movie.
very clever.
I came up with that. I did. Oh, and here's the bag. Unfortunately...
You like that, huh?
Unfortunately, we couldn't show the floor or the walls because there aren't supposed to be any.
I like the way I say, "This is what you get for disobeying your true father."
Yeah. Great lines in this episode.
Yeah.
And it worked out surprisingly well considering that there's like no real depth. It's just us standing in front of the same background.
It gets really dark here. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. There are areas where the green screen malfunctions.
Ooh.
But
Yeah, it got really dark. He starts stomping on him and crying.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's so sad. So sad.
He really probably thinks he's dead, right?
For the most part, yeah, he checks and he's like, oh, thank goodness you're alive. I think that was one thing that I found like...
That's what I thought was funny.
I found it funny too when it's like, good, still alive. That wasn't really intended to be a joke, but afterwards I was like, that's pretty funny. It's the way he says it. 3D glasses. Oh my gosh, jeez.
I had Sour Patch.
All right. We had Sour Patch Kids before this.
Cold Sour Patch.
And, this is when Bobby calls out That's when he should have been hit by the black lightning. And one mistake we made was that we didn't actually show what happens to Bobby. So Irwin runs in, he's like, "Oh my god!"
Pretty noticeable.
Yeah, but I changed it for the movie, so it's no longer like as noticeable.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody noticed it.
Yeah. So that awkward edit is gone. People listening to the commentary track might not know what we're talking about, but there was an awkward edit that showed like Bobby doing the exact same motion like twice because we didn't have enough scenes, enough B-roll. But and this is one thing that I would definitely change is that we were using this big, huge green screen.
What are you doing?
We were using this big green screen, and we could have done a split screen of you and Irwin, Dark Irwin, like looking at each other, but we never did. Like you guys never share a scene.
The close-ups of their face more.
Yeah, I mean it still works. It's not like awful, but at the same time, like just one shot of them looking at each other would have added at least a little bit. So that was a mistake we made. And
why are you doing this?
Oh yeah, and this is when Dark Irwin like completely changes his motives.
That's not where he does.
Well, I guess it was earlier when he was kind of talking with Herschel about it. Oh, and this is the part where Herschel and Uniqua are finally in the same scene together, aside from like some photos. I loved the idea when we had like a 2-hour, 3-hour long conversation talking about this.
What?
Like plotting out this episode. And we were like, okay, so they meet at this point and they talk about this, and we were trying to like figure out how to like structure everything. And this might be my favorite part of them just meeting and just talking. They're just talking over each other. And then they nod and head out, and then there's this great scene of Dark Irwin fighting the babies, which I thought would look terrible.
That was some good.
It actually ended up pretty epic.
That for I love that part.
It like the slow mo
part
hits.
Of the fan service I wanted, but yet
it turned out pretty well. The babies being up.
I have some 2 original ones that first started watching. That's why I put that in there for them.
Did they want a scene of the babies working together to fight, or
it's the scene they didn't know they wanted? That's
okay. Yeah, this episode.
But the only one that's watched it so far didn't comment on it. So I don't know how she feels about it.
I hate you people.
She's like, yeah, I mean, it was good. I like that the squirrels were in it.
Let's make fun of the fans.
I already told her I mentioned her in this.
Now, yeah, that's how you get people to listen to it.
Yeah, I told her that I complained about her.
You complained about our work, so now we can complain about you. You try making a 2-hour and 10-minute long
dummy. Oh
my god!
No, we're turning away fans.
We just lost 3 subscribers. So, anyways, we're reaching the very end of the episode. Towards the end, anyways, when Dark Irwin is explaining like his hand in Margaret's death, and we're just kind of filling in a bunch of the blanks kind of left throughout the series.
This is my favorite line.
Oh, which one?
One of my favorite lines.
Oh, the Dark Murder.
Oh, I never noticed. It's so good.
Because my mom, when I had shown her all these videos, the thing that she could never get over was like, well, he doesn't look like an old man. And I was like, well, we don't have the money. Yeah. So we finally explained it.
Bobby.
Yeah, and so that shot of Bobby that you just saw, we reused it twice originally, but now we don't. So it's no longer reused twice. It's not as awkward. It's still a little
dirty cheater!
Yeah, this effect I really couldn't make work like perfectly, so I just add like fog at the bottom, but he's being kind of just held down.
I like that line.
Oh, this is where you spit. There it is.
Stay here for all eternity.
Yeah, Dark Irwin, he's a threat. He's a real, look how evil he is. And this part of the baby's coming out. Oh, it's so great. And the music leading into it.
It's like Endgame.
And I love like...
it's bigger than Endgame.
It really is. Except... Kids! Yeah, I love like...
I love the
Oh yeah, Irwin, he should really be helping them, but I don't know. He doesn't want to interfere. He knows that they've got it covered. And so... the fight starts out kind of, shaky, but then it gets pretty amazing.
For the jugular!
I love that line.
A lot of conflict in this last episode. There it is. And then this part.
Oh, that's my favorite.
All the faces that you make.
That's the best punch in it.
Started out strong. Yeah, I like your face there too. We did multiple takes of all these to make sure that they were really good. Sometimes I think you can see my hand as I'm pushing it into you. That one's pretty good too. Watching it without the music kind of takes away some of the gravity.
Satisfying.
But yeah, you finally get to see the babies turn on Dark Irwen. But then he turns the tides on them and throws them to the side. There's a lot of twists and turns in this episode.
The toss does look a little cheesy because I actually do it kind of slow.
Yeah.
Then it cuts and they're just like, Unique when it hits the wall. It looks
yeah, you
weird.
can kind of see it. This is when Irwen finally rushes forward, but then Bobby pops up. Once again, I'm just describing the scene because at this point there's not like a great amount that needs to be covered. We covered the movie pretty well.
There were a lot more scenes of me bashing Dark Irwen.
Yeah. Our original plan was like you were gonna like keep hitting him with the walker, and I was like,
yeah,
I wanted to put it in. I wanted to put it in, but at the same time, it didn't really fit with the music. And I was like, it'd probably just be more emotional if he just did it once.
The book.
Oh yeah, this book gag.
Man.
My
dad saw this and he's like, "Where'd you get that book? I want to see it." Because it was my grandpa's book.
And this looks like super old, so it works really well for being in Irwin's possession or something. Yeah. And so we have darker.
We everything we have came from actual old people. So
it's quite amazing.
Accurate. A trick.
And then just him getting hit by the walker here. And so now is the sort of goodbye. Like he wants Bobby to leave, but Bobby kind of stays as he kills Dark Irwen. This part's pretty cool too when you hear like Dark Irwen just like, "Don't kill me," and he's like, "No." Yeah, you get him, Irwen.
Oh yeah, I love that. I don't care.
Yeah, great line. It's like the final big superhero line. Irwin's a superhero. Sort of. Kind of. Not really. Yeah, so that scene right there, we did it like a bunch of times.
Yeah. Irwin,
but I only used one.
Irwin defeats Thanos.
Irwin probably could, yeah.
End game spoilers.
Yeah. And so I added the portal flashing here because that's implying that like Bobby and Unique One Herschel, they don't have much time to leave. So they can't just like stick around and talk to Irwin forever. Like they don't have a lot of time. And now everything's turned blue. It's no longer the dark dimension. It's changed. It's the good dimension. Because blue equals good and red equals bad. Not very subtle. But when has this movie ever been subtle about anything? Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to change. I think my actual favorite scene is Herschel talking. I think that might actually be my new favorite. I do the voice of Herschel, and I like pitched it down a little bit. And we went on some...
Your reaction.
Yeah. I was like, what? We went on some grand adventures. And it's just so cheesy, but at the same time touching.
The faces I make.
You're like so proud.
Good. That one is so...
Yeah, this scene is probably up there. It's probably one of my favorites.
Oh, man.
It's so cheesy. Like, if you showed someone this out of context, it would just be so confusing.
I can't believe it. Oh, I love my response to it. Keep it groovy, man. Herschel, keep it groovy, my man.
And I love this part too. It's not like funny or anything. I just like how I look back and you just like give a little nod in a way. It's actually sad, and the music's great, and it all it's kind of funny, I guess. He always has like a wacky face. And then we finally cut back to the real world. It was hard performing in front of a green screen. It was difficult to like not have actual props to mess with aside from just the walker and the babies. I think that was another reason we got burnt out. So it was so nice to just be able to finally go, oh, we can actually work in a room again. Because the room right here is in the same green screen room. It's just towards the back. As if you couldn't tell by like the lights in the background that we couldn't operate.
Stuff with me.
And finally, you play someone else aside from Irwin and Dark Irwin. You actually play this guy who has no name.
This guy.
And you said that you wanted to be a jerk. I was like, you don't have to be a jerk. And you're like, oh, no, I want to be a jerk. It's like, okay.
I was tired.
I also kind of Bobby getting his comeuppance because he was a jerk for most of the series, and finally someone is actually like mean to him. And
Pretty impressive, if I just say so myself.
we finally got around to using this joke. And the original plan was that like Bobby was going to look at the collection and just be like really upset.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? I run a really happy ending. I think it would be even funnier if he looks at it and he's like, aw, yeah.
Your look at first looks kind of concerned.
Yeah, like I'm just like overwhelmed. And your squirrel collection seriously is just, you might have one of the largest squirrel collections around. But I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we're pretty much towards the end, and there's no credits because it's just us, so there was no reason to add credits. So, I mean, that was Irwen the movie for the most part. We have this great scene of Bobby walking out with the kids, and you see Irwen up in the clouds. And I love it. I really like Irwen the movie, and I'm proud to have been a part of it. Wouldn't you agree, Cheese?
Yeah.
And so who knows what's next? Who knows what's coming up in the future? Will Irwen return? No. But we'll probably do something else.
Spin-offs.
You never know. And so, ladies and gents, that's the end. We end with Irwen, just as we began with Irwen. Thanks for watching.
The end.